Step into the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, I tune to my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning Expresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Oh, very good morning, you beautiful souls. Thank you so much for tuning in on this official Thursday morning. It's officially Thursday.
Well, I mean, what happened to this month?
What happened to this year? It's all gone crazy. But a very good morning nonetheless for myself, Graham Richards.
And I'm Zoe Brown, and that means we are only officially one day closer to getting to the weekend. And if you've ever been eager to really just jump into the world of podcasts, then stick around, because John Savage joins us to give us a beginner's guide. And I mean, podcasts podcasts are taking over.
Yeah, and I suppose it's quite a complimentary thing for our industry, and especially with you being in radio as well. You must be tempted to dip your toe into the water there. Well, maybe we'll get you to dive right in. We're also going to be cooking up a storm with some awesome recipes from Bon Appetit podcast, one of the best in the biz, and then Splendid Table as well.
And in terms of our morning entertainment, we are joined by the electronic music duo New Hero, so you do not want to miss out on any of the things coming up on your feel-good breakfast show
I think I had Smiling on repeat this morning on my way in there. What a banger. The gents are here. They're going to rock your world. They're going to make you feel like it's a Saturday afternoon, but it is still a Thursday, so let's get through our official duties. Our bays are sitting there, all matchy-matchy, couple goals today.
Yep.
Morning, boys.
Hi there, good morning.
Hi there.
Hi. Good. But by the way, do you notice that Graham obviously copied my look today? You're welcome, brother.
And Zoe copied mine as well.
Yes,
These
I could
people,
see that.
no,
You know,
no class.
I mean, look, why? I mean, there's so many different things you could wear today, but it's okay, it's fine. We like the unity, but welcome, and it's so good to have you. You know the podcast thing? Have you ever considered doing a podcast?
I have, Carl. I really want to be honest. I have a lot of things to talk about. I would love to do it. A lot of things, man. But honestly, I would love to just educate when it comes to the outdoors, when it comes to nature, and somehow like fuse in some fitness, you know, like a Nature Boy podcast.
Yes, please.
And you, Carl, I mean, you pretty much like have your own podcast anyway, so do you want another one?
No, not really. I think like a podcast is like just on one subject. I'd probably do like emotional intelligence. I'm a psychology major, so I've always wanted to kind of delve into how emotional intelligence can be applied in different
A
contexts.
psychology major.
Yes.
Stay out of my head.
sorry.
Oh, we do that, guys. Of course, let us know on our social media channels what podcast you would love to start, and of course, what would the topic be and what would you talk about? And that's what we're talking about today on the show. Amongst other magic, of course, we are rocking with music. We are rocking with something special too, coming up a little bit later. And you want to stick around for all the magic. But before we get into it, let's find out what's happening. First up, with the news with Zoe.
Thank you, Ryle. I'll start with national news. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni yesterday delivered the 2021 budget, detailing how National Treasury intends to navigate an increasingly precarious financial position amid the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent economic fallout. In this environment, the budget has offered some tax relief while expanding spending on health, particularly the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. 9 billion rand of the country's budget will be going towards funding the free COVID-19 vaccination program. The long-awaited vaccinations will be provided free of charge, targeting 67% of the population over the next 12 months. And staying with the budget, as usual, education receives the lion's share of the budget. Its allocation goes up from 16 billion rand to 403 billion this year. The Department of Social Development gets the second largest slice of the cake with 335 billion rand this year. Spending on social grants decreases by 6 billion rand this year, despite the number of beneficiaries expected to grow by 300,000. Old age and disability grants will increase by 30 rand to 1,890 rand a month, and child support will go up by 15 rand to 460 rand a month. And we now move beyond our own borders, where Ghana has become the first country to receive coronavirus vaccines through the COVAX Vaccine Sharing Initiative. A delivery of 600,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine arrived in Accra yesterday. The first recipients are to be healthcare workers. The COVAX scheme aims to reduce the divide between rich countries and poorer nations unable to buy doses. The program plans to deliver about 2 billion vaccine doses globally by year-end. Ghana, with a population of over 30 million, was chosen as the first recipient of the free vaccines after promising quick distribution. And staying with news abroad, Israel's parliament passed a law yesterday allowing the government to share the identities of people not vaccinated against the coronavirus with other authorities, thereby raising privacy concerns for those opting out of inoculation. Israel, a country of 9 million people, has administered the 2 recommended jabs of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine to roughly a third of its population. As it emerges from lockdown, the country is restricting certain services, including access to gyms and indoor dining, to the vaccinated only, giving a so-called green pass to the fully inoculated. And now for some news closer to home. There's been a huge donation to help save endangered Cape cormorant chicks, the second largest seabird rescue in the Western Cape since the MV treasure oil spill in 2000 has just taken place. SANCOB, the South African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds, desperately needed help to care for more than 1,000 endangered Cape Cormorant chicks rescued from Robben Island earlier this year. This week, My School, My Village, My Planet, the largest community loyalty program in South Africa, donated no less than 200,000 Rand to the SANCOB Cape Cormorant Chick Emergency Relief Response. The donation will be used for food and veterinary supplies for the chicks, as well as to fund biosecurity at SANCOB Seabird Hospital in Tableview, Cape Town. The endangered chicks has been abandoned by their parents, most likely because of a lack of food. The generous assistance rendered by the amazing non-profit organization is crucial to the ongoing support that staff and volunteers are provided to the chicks. Hedwig Tulp, SANCOB's relationship manager, said, and I quote, "My school, my village, my planet has been an incredible partner during critical times of need for SANCOB, and we are very grateful that they have once more extended their benevolence to our cause." Well, that's where we leave your morning headlines. Let's take a first look at your sport.
Thank you so much. So let's kick it off with local cricket. Getting into the business end now, the Dolphins recorded a 41-run victory over the Lions in their CSA T20 Challenge match at Kingsmead in Durbs yesterday. The Lions were all out for 110 thanks to spin bowlers Keshav Maharaj and Pranalan Subrayan. In the earlier T20 fixture, the Warriors, they registered their first win in the tournament after beating the Titans by 43 runs to keep their playoff hopes alive. So the Warriors take on the Knights in the only T20 Challenge fixture today, and that one kicks off at 2:30 p.m. Keeping it local on the footballing front, SuperSport United and Orlando Pirates played out to a 1-1 draw at the Lucas Moripe Stadium in the PSL yesterday. So that result sees the Buccaneers now move up to 4th place on the standings, while SuperSport, they do remain in 2nd. Now 3 points adrift of log leaders and defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns. And other PSL results, TS Galaxy beat Bloem Celtic 1-0 in Nelspruit. Then on to football, goals by Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus. They secured a 2-0 win for Manchester City over German side Borussia Mönchengladbach at the Puskas Arena in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg last night. This was City's 12th away win in a row, a record for an English top-flight club. The second fixture of the night saw a 10-man Atalanta suffer a 1-0 defeat to visitors Real Madrid, who left it late in Italy. Then on to footballing news, or staying with footballing news rather, Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur, they cruised into the UEFA Europa League last 16 after thrashing Austrian club Wolfsberger AC 4-0 in the last 32 second leg last night. Dele Alli's superb overhead kick and a brace by Carlos Vinicius and a 73rd minute goal by Gareth Bale, who is finding the back of the net these days, secured the win for Spurs. So Tottenham claiming an 8-1 aggregate win over after winning that first leg in Budapest 4-1. We'll touch on those sporting headlines again in about an hour or so. Right now, let's see how beautiful the skies are looking in your neck of the woods.
Thanks a lot, Graham, and we love hearing from you, and we start the morning up with these beautiful sunrise images submitted via our Facebook page. And thank you to regular Ntokoza Theo Makatini for sharing this pastel morning sky with us, and that was from Johannesburg. Today you can expect a mild 22-degree maximum with scattered thunder showers. Paulina Williams, good morning to you from Cluttersville. Stellenbosch shared this picturesque photo of the sky lightening over the vineyards in our area. It's so poetic. Today you can expect plenty of sunshine, with it becoming increasingly windy as the day progresses. We're looking at a peak of 25 degrees Celsius forecast in your area. Thank you to each of you that takes the time to share your sunrise photos with us. If you too would like to be featured in our sunrise segment, all you have to do is head over to our Expresso Facebook page to share your photo and location with us, and then you're on the show. Now, while we love our local viewers, we also have to send some greetings to our international viewers tuned in on the Africa channel on YouTube. This morning, we are giving a brief weather forecast for Helena, the state capital of Montana. Now, Helena was founded as a gold camp during the Montana Gold Rush. Rush and established on October 30th, 1864, and has since become a very wealthy city. A high wind warning has been issued for the residents there, and residents are urged to be aware of gusty winds that could blow down tree limbs. Believe it or not, a few power outages are possible and travel will be difficult. A cool maximum of 2 degrees Celsius has been forecast for the day. It has now been 7 days since Makana District Municipality residents on the east side of Makanda in the Eastern Cape have seen a drop of water emerging from their taps. Leakage at the James Kleinhans water treatment plant has damaged pumps, resulting in parts of the town running dry. Moreover, the Settlers Dam is currently at an alarming 5%, and the Howisonspoort Dam stands at 25%. And with scorching hot temperatures, residents of Makanda are scrambling for water. The city has been in the grip of a drought for the past 4 years, and residents and local businesses have been hit with an erratic water supply and water cuts on a daily basis. Makana Municipal Mayor Mzukize Mpahla says the damaged pump at the water treatment plant is in for repairs and is expected to be operational very soon. Meanwhile, the relief organization Gift of the Givers has intervened to assist the water supply. Water trucks and tanks have been dispensed across the city. All the best in your area. Now let's take a look at some of the temperatures across South Africa, and I start off with Polokwane. Good morning to you. 17 is your low today to a high of 25. Bombela, 27 the high with a 51% chance of thunder showers, 20 the low. Pretoria, 17 to 23 today, a 63% chance of thunder showers there. Johannesburg, 22 the high from a low of 16, a 52% chance of thunder showers in your area as well. A 55% chance of those thunder showers. Once again, this is Mahikeng, 16 to 27 to you. And then Klerksdorp, 16 to 27 as well, 52% chance of thunder showers. Lots of thunder across South Africa today. Kimberley, 14 to a high of 32. Bloemfontein, 28 the high, that's from a low of 12 today. Richards Bay, 21 to 26 with a 60% chance of thunder showers. 23 the maximum, and that's from a low of 17 this morning in Pietermaritzburg. Durban, good morning to you, 21 the low, that's to a high of 25. Mthatha, 14 to 20 with a 70% chance of rain in your area. Also 62% chance of rain in East London, 17 to 24. Cradock, 12, that's the low to a high of 29. Gqeberha, 17 to 23 in your area, 63% chance of rain. And George, 15 to 22. The Mother City, 19 to 23 today. Worcester, 30 the maximum from a low of 12. Sutherland, 7 to 26. And Uppington, 35 degrees the maximum and 18 your low this morning. Thanks a lot for sending through your sunrise pictures. Please keep it coming. You know where to go, the Expresso Facebook page.
Oh, thank you,
Carl.
Wasey. I love how you got the click correct. Gqeberha.
Nice stuff, brother. And Zoe, I must just say, I don't think you copied me. I think we have a collaboration going on here. And speaking of collaborations with our clothing, we've got another cool collaboration when it comes to sound as well. And you're not going to want to miss this one.
Well, we have the gents from New Hero with us. We're going to sit down, chat to them after the break, and of course, get some new music from them. Their track Smiling, that's coming up on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Oh, you can make my day. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and you are just in time. We're about to sit down with our guest artist, New Hero. Now, while we all might have a preferred genre of music that we like to listen to, what we know about the music, the magic really happens when those worlds collide. That's why the genre-fluid music of New Hero, which consists of dubstep DJ and producer Keaton Carlson, aka Grimehouse, and vocalist Scotty Moore, has transcended barriers and really resonated with so many South African music lovers. And they are joining us this morning to really share a little bit more about their sound, what they've been up to, and of course their latest single, Smiling. Okay, good morning.
Good morning. Honored to be here.
Yeah, you guys should be smiling right now. Did you just hear that intro that Zoe put on for you guys?
Wow. Amazing intro.
Hey, genre fluid.
Pretty sure she got the wrong guys. I think they're after us.
If it could sound as good as what you explained, that'd be great.
Well, I love that you guys are going with the terminology genre fluid.
The thing is, we haven't found our sound yet. We're still searching for it. We're pretty sure in the next sort of 5 years we might get there. But we like so many different.
I don't know if I can be with you that long.
Oh no.
It's long.
But do you have to label it? Do you have to box it?
You don't have to label it.
You don't have to do that.
Music is music.
I think a lot of people do that. You know, we play this specific genre, but we like totally different types of music. So I think every single song is like, okay, let's try this, let's try that, and it just turns out the way it turns out.
And that's the beautiful thing about you guys. You are a fruit salad of musical excellence. Because the thing is, when you look at dubstep and how like sort of synth-laden that is, and then I look at your background as well, and there's a bit of like, vocal and a touch of alternative rock and that sort of thing that comes in. How do you even get into studio and say, let's do something with those two traditional genres? How did that work?
We spoke about it for years, eh?
Yeah, we don't look at genres at all. We're just good friends, and we hang out and we bang on instruments, and we use this instrument in his throat and see what comes out.
I can play an instrument. It's called the throat. But we sometimes you'll send me piano, you'll send me guitar, and I'll write something, the genius stuff. Ooh. And then I send it back to him, and then he makes the song around it. Then we come together and we collaborate and we finish it up together. So it's quite a process, but
we don't look at it as a genre. Whatever comes out comes out.
They'll ask us what genre we're putting this down as. We're like,
yes,
you tell us.
Whatever you choose.
TBC.
TBC, everyone.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your new single, Smiling. What can people, who haven't heard it yet, because you guys will be performing it a little bit later. Tell us a little bit about it.
I didn't know when he sent me the vocals. I thought it was a love song, but then afterwards, like a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to him being interviewed somewhere, and he said it's about depression. So I got it all completely wrong.
Interesting.
So it's all on him now, because I don't actually know what the song's about.
The thing is, like, through 2020, I went through some bad depression, and I couldn't write. I didn't even want to get out of bed, and I'm sure a lot of people felt that way. People lost their loved ones, they lost jobs. And I lost my inspiration. So it was actually, it was in December, they told me, he was telling me, come on, what are we doing? We're making music, And I found this old piece of piano, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to try and sit down and write about my experience, about what was happening. And I think I put that emotion across into the song, and then he obviously sent it to him, and he was like, okay, we're on a winner here. So that's how it started. This is literally the first song I've written in a year.
Wow, that's powerful. And perhaps there's some beautiful nuance to the name New Hero being the band name, because when it comes to things like you were going through, you had to become your own hero and use the vehicle of music. That was always your vehicle to release and express yourself to try and get out of that. And I want to commend you for that as well, brother. That's courage right there.
But I want to tell you one thing. It's music. The one thing I realized, music doesn't define me, but when I am making music, it makes me the best version of myself.
I like that.
And you have to ask for help. You can't do this alone.
You have to.
So I'm lucky I had this old pal over here, and of course my beautiful wife. So they help me.
A happy song wouldn't go amiss, though.
I'll give you one day.
It's real, though.
Let's get some jump
It's real. It's real.
Yeah.
Come on.
And how did that writing process feel for you? Being so vulnerable through your lyrics.
I have to be vulnerable in my lyrics. I can't just sit down and write a song for radio. If you sit down and you write a song and you go, I know this, I'm writing this for this specific station, I guarantee you they're not going to take it, and people are not going to like it. You have to speak from the soul. You have to tell the truth. The deepest, darkest secrets you don't want anyone to know. You can hide them in the beautiful language of English. And you can, and people pick up their. People have said to me, "I think Smiling's about this." He thought it was a love song, you know. But that's the beauty of English. You can sort of get your own meaning out of it.
I like that. And I know a lot of people, can't always articulate how they feel, but sometimes music speaks for them.
Exactly.
And it's by, amazing lyrics that you write that really brings that message home for them. Well, we cannot wait to hear you perform. I'm pretty sure you're excited.
I am excited because you've got talent, creativity, and honesty is what you are going to hear today. And New Hero will be performing a little bit later on your Feel Good Breakfast show. And if you're needing a little bit of morning saving, don't worry. We have a New Hero later.
You know what time it is, of course, when we've got Grant Hines in the building. We are going to have some fun, especially all these Thursdays. I'm sure you're getting used to it by now. It's Games Day. Now, being rated as one of the coolest stationery stores in South Africa comes with great responsibility indeed. Now, a responsibility to make sure that SA's kids are cool, both in and out of the classroom too. Now, that's why our friends at Game are running a PS5 competition. And I know you youngsters out there, your ears are listening now. And to ensure that you get all you need for school so that you can still enjoy your play after the homework is done. So to get us ready, our YouTube and digital creator Grant Hines is joining us this morning, not only to find out more about Game's epic PS5 giveaway, but we're also reviewing one of its latest games. It's called Ride 4, and I hope you're ready to live the best gaming experience that a motorcycle fan can get. And that's because we are ready to spark your competition soul with hundreds of bikes and dozens of tricks. Grant Hines, how are you doing this morning, man?
I'm challenged.
You're stuck in here, hey? How's this game going?
It's actually doing a lot better than I have this week. I've been playing this game a little bit this week. This is Ride 4.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know at home. Ride is a series that is centers around motorbikes that's all about realism. You want to make sure that this is the most authentic motorbike racing experience that you can get. But obviously, for a lot of people that don't ride motorbikes, that comes with some draw cards, you know. You want to be able to, I just want to get onto a motorbike in a video game and go vroom vroom, you know. But like, this is literally about the discipline of riding.
Yeah, man. And look, I was watching you earlier. You were busy playing around. It looked like you were panning a camera in a custom editing mode. What is that all about?
Okay, so there is an editor mode where you can edit your bike and you can edit your rider. But I really like the editing mode. Firstly, we can change the angle of the rider, so we can choose where we want.
You feel like you're on the bike, yeah.
And then the photo mode is actually really, really cool. So you can actually move your camera around and take some really nice photos, you know.
So is this a game that you could customize your bike and your character as well?
Yeah, you can customize your bike and your character. So if you've got a motorbike, if you're a motorbike enthusiast and you've got a motorbike in real life that you want to have, yes, you can.
Oh,
you can
that is
put
cool.
yourself inside
and then you could
cave.
ride a track, an international track perhaps as well, and then get a picture of yourself riding the track.
Even better. This is one of my favorite things about this game. We are currently riding, and those of you at home who understand motorsport and are really intuitive will see that we are currently riding on Kyalami. So,
oh snap!
So so you can ride local tracks.
Welcome
really cool.
home. Nice.
Exactly. So we're going to be doing some time trials in studio with everybody just to see how great their motorbike skills are. Hopefully they're a little bit better than mine.
So Grant, look, I mean, it's rare that you get motorcycle games in the first place. Number one, number two of this caliber. But I mean, a lot of work has gone into Ride 4 over the years. What is setting it apart from the rest of the games out there in its competition, and especially the fact that it's on new gen consoles? Yeah?
Well, it has very little competition when it comes to it being like a racing game that is centered around motorbikes. But this is the first time Ride is on PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I'm currently riding on a PlayStation 5, which is really cool. And the graphics, I've obviously seen a bump. We can see this high frame rate. It's going to be hard for you guys to see at home, but the frame rate is silky smooth.
It is indeed. I feel like I'm a Kyalami, man. I'm not going to lie.
And one of the big selling points of the PlayStation 5 is the controller. All those haptic feedbacks, and you guys are going to feel it when you get to do your races. But every time I drive over the sand...
So all the shocking driving when you're hitting the sand, you're feeling that?
There's resistance. There's resistance on the trigger as soon as I want to take off. So it's vibrating now because I'm coming from a standstill, and then it starts like... picks up from that rattle to a straight, and you can feel it on the controller, which is unreal.
I love that. You know, it sounds so silly, it genuinely gives you so much more of an authentic and immersive experience. Like, you feel like you're a part of the game now. You have these environments almost reacting with you at the same time, man.
Every time a gear shifts down, the whole controller vibrates from left to right. It's something that's hard to tell people about, but when you pick up a controller, like step into like a game store if they've got one, pick up a controller and give it a go, and you're going to be like, wow, this is the future of games, and it really shows here. Last time I was at Kyle Army, I was there for Comic-Con, so you know, like I could have been playing this right there on the floor.
Last quick one, G. Who is this for, Grant? Who is the game for? Who's it?
This is for hardcore enthusiasts of motorbikes, of cycling. If you aren't a hardcore enthusiast and you're looking for something arcadey, this might not be for you.
Okay.
But if you guys consider yourselves like die-hard motorbike fans, you're gonna really love Ride 4.
Oh man, it looks like stacks of fun. It looks like we're gonna have to try and pull you out of this game every time I want to talk to you, getting so immersed. But of course, guys, for you at home, Zanzi, it's the last few days that you can stand a chance to win one of two PS5s, courtesy of game stores. And all you have to do is spend 250 Rand or more in store on game stationery supplies. And remember to keep your till slips safe. And then all you gotta do is just fill in the entry form online at game.co.za and upload your till slip for a chance to win. As simple as that. And when you go into the lucky draw to stand the chance to win one of these two PS5 consoles. And of course, your T's and C's can be found on the expressoshow.com, and the competition runs until the 28th of Feb 2021. There's only one last thing to do. Get involved, get involved.
I'm never riding.
Ooh, nice.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, the time has come. The crazy thing is, I've actually raced on Kyalami before. Okay?
Oh, humble brag.
I know.
I love this.
And I did all right.
By the way.
I love Kyalami. I used to go there and like watch races, bikes, in between meetings and things, go and get a bully roll. And I love this track. It's such proud South African history. So that's exciting to me. But I'm absolutely terrible on a bike. So this is going to be quite an interesting thing. But I'm really looking forward to this. Just picking up the remote and feeling the responses is crazy. So I'm gonna start my flying lap and give it a go, man.
Lap. I want to see what's the best time we can. Yeah, restart the current session. This is a lot harder than you think at home. This is as realistic as it gets when it comes to like a motorbike game for a console, for a virtual one. And I found this really hard when I was doing this at home. And it takes a lot of prowess. So the lap time, you can see it started ticking. It's to the top right-hand side of the screen. We're 3 seconds into this. You got to make sure that you go on the straights. I have had, because it's so hard, I've put some training wheels on, if you'd like. There's some auto braking and stuff that Graham might not feel while he plays this. This line in the middle of the screen is something called a racing line. So you want to make sure that the cooler colors that you see are your speed. So you want to make sure that you get your cooler colors in. And then...
Hit the berm.
There we go. And then when it goes to red, you need to slow it down, which is really important. Otherwise, you're off the track. Traditionally, you have like an invalid time if you go off the map or off the track because it is motorbikes. But I think we should let that slide because this is a little bit harder.
Like I'm sliding right now.
Yeah, like look, see, it's considered an invalid lap, but for the purpose of this, I think it's so challenging, and I dare everybody at home who has got a copy of Ride 4 to come beat this score.
Keep it on the top, man. Keep it on the top.
If you guys are at home and you have a copy of Ride 4, make sure that you do Kyalami, make sure that you take a photograph of the screen and of your time. I want to see
and your
what
bike,
you guys
man.
get.
If you've done any cool things to your bike, take a photo.
Take a photo. So that leaderboard over there across the way, it says Ride 4. Graham, Zoe, Ryle, and myself are going to be challenging each other, and we're going to make sure that we get our scores on that, our times on that. And I'm definitely going to win because I think I've had more experience.
Yeah, I know. Look, it's and he's off the bike. Go.
Come on, you've still got, you're 1 minute 30 into this. You're nearly there.
This is where you get a nice head of steam. Go.
Go on that straight. You know what you want to put,
Oh, man.
pump it.
Come on,
pump
you
it on
gotta
the
stay on the
straight.
tar, man. You
Graham.
gotta stay on the tar.
Ooh. I'm glad that I'm
Guys
not on the
need
bike.
some serious breakfast. How does a Clover Classic breakfast pizza sound? Well, that's coming up in the kitchen right now.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic!
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover.
Well, you know what? The question we're asking you this morning is why eat leftover pizza for breakfast when you can have our Clover Classic breakfast egg pizza? It's made with so few ingredients, it's low on carbs, and it is the best, and it is ready within minutes. And that's why we have Chef Angie in the kitchen, who looks incredible with her blonde hair.
Aww.
This is the first time we are cooking together, and I feel like over a year.
It's been a while.
And this is an amazing dish that you're putting together for us today.
Yes, nice and healthy, carb-free. That's the way to go in the mornings, right?
That is the way to
Yes.
go. And I mean, who said breakfast must be boring?
Exactly. So, called a pizza, but it's very close to a frittata, which is your Italian egg dish. So we're just going to layer some breakfasty things, which is the idea. So we're just going to put some fat spread in the pan.
There we go. And we are using the Clover Classic 40% fat spread with cream. There we go.
There we go.
And do you want a searing hot pan?
Preferably, yes.
Okay.
So it could be a little hotter. We just had it on for a while. I'm going to do the tomatoes first. So we're just going to pop them. Oh,
there we go.
So we're layering everything in. Just sort of get some color on each side. We got our tomatoes and season them up.
I always feel like tomatoes is that one thing I always neglect it when it comes on my plate.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. They're actually a beautiful vegetable. It's got that umami flavor, but you do need to add salt because otherwise they can be quite bland.
Yeah.
So salt and fat works.
There we go. Yes, that makes everything better.
Always. Right. So we take those. Get them heated up and then take them out.
There we go.
I know it seems a bit strange, but we're going to put them back in the pan.
That's all good. And what's amazing about our Clover Classic fat spread that we're using this morning, it is ideal. It's an everyday spread with a touch of cream, and it has a source of 10 vitamins. So really, you are getting some nutrients in. There we go. So Angie, you just added some more of our Clover Classic.
I just want to make sure that the pan has enough fat in the bottom so it doesn't stick. And then we're going to do our mushrooms.
And I love how chunky you are leaving the ingredients. Like some people chop up their mushrooms so fine and their tomatoes.
Now you want to taste them, right? So it's sort of like got that pizza flavor. So preferably what I like to do is a really hot pan for mushrooms. You almost want to hear them squeak. I know it sounds like a strange thing to say, but the pan needs to be so hot that they squeak a little bit.
I've heard when you put especially the mushrooms that you haven't chopped up yet, and you just leave them and then they start like almost singing, like you said, squeaking, like it's very high pitch.
You want to get that because mushrooms have a lot of liquid in them, so you almost want to just sort of get that liquid out quite fast so that they don't go watery. So I'll just leave those in there. And once your mushrooms are lovely and brown, and what you can add into this, sometimes I'll add a little touch of nutmeg as well. Nutmeg and eggs is a beautiful combo. It just brings out the flavor.
Amazing.
So, and sometimes just a little bit of mustard as well if you want extra flavor.
Okay. So how many eggs are you working on? And like how many people will this feed, or is this for one person only?
No, sorry, it's not for one person only. We are sharing. So this is 4 eggs. So you can go to. I mean, I would only have 1 egg, but I think 2 people could share that. I think that looks good. Right. So
I would eat all by myself.
yeah. So eggs nice and fluffy, and we need to add some of this. We've got so much stuff to add and so little time to do it in. So we add some nice color with our peppers.
And let's not forget to add some color. I mean, we've got the green peppers, the yellow peppers, some red peppers. We've got our tomatoes.
Yeah. So it's high fiber, fat as well, but no carbs. So it's a very good, if you're on the keto diet, this is it. And then we'll add the tomatoes back. So everything's in the pan, so it's a one-pan thing, which is great.
Which is what we love.
We love it. And then we add the eggs.
And you add the eggs just like that, because I know when some people make an omelette, and I know we're not making an omelette right now, they like to add a touch of milk to their eggs.
Yeah, I'm going to say people do that. I know my mother does that. But what happens when you add liquid or milk to the eggs, it actually separates out when you cook it.
Okay.
So it becomes watery. So it's actually better just to leave the eggs whole, and then you get the full deal with the eggs. So once you've got your eggs in and everything's layered up, just put the lid on. And leave it. And then it's almost sort of going to steam. It's almost like a little oven on the stove. So it's going to steam and cook on the top as well.
I like that, because you don't want your pizza to be like cooked at the bottom and then it's like still raw at the top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to do it. Or you could put it in the oven, but the lid works really, really well. It's going to take a little bit of time, and then you don't have to worry about what's happening underneath. Just turn the heat down and it'll sort of get a little bit crispy on the bottom, but not too much.
Amazing.
And then you get this beautiful pizza. And then you want to serve it with some nice fresh basil. For me, that's always the best. I love fresh basil.
There we go.
Yeah, especially with tomatoes.
And if you want to add like a protein, you can add your bacon bits, can you add some chicken, can you add salmon to this?
You can add anything you like to
anything to it. Well,
whatever works for you.
Thank you so much for showing us how to make this delicious Clover Classic breakfast pizza. If you missed any of the steps, we have it all available for you on our website, expressoshow.com. And we also have a quick recap for you.
Made with love by Clover. Oh, you can make my day.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic.
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso. We're live at SABC3, and this morning we are focusing on all things tech and creation. And take a listen to this story. There's an inevitable move towards biodegradable products and advanced waste management solutions, says entrepreneur Luvuyo Ndiki.
Yeah, he does indeed. Now, he is the founder of Red Cup Village, which is a company that 3D prints and sells biodegradable cups to help combat our world's plastic pollution crisis. So let's take a look at this story.
The repercussions of not looking after our environment is that we have an ocean filled with plastic, an ocean that is not longer a place for us to relax and have fun. And also we have landfills that are filled up, which take up a lot of space of land, which land we require so much in our country. My name is Luvuyo Ndiki and I'm the founder of Red Cup Village, and started the business in 2014. My passion comes from back in high school when I was basically a litter bug where I used to clean after at break. It started off as detention, but everything after that came as a passion, just to clean after the environment and taking care of what I lived back on the ground. The reason why I started off moving into biodegradable cups was seeing a lot of people, and after having events, they would always throw away their cups on the ground and no one taking care of it. And I think for me it was a matter of like taking the initiative to design something. Let's say, for example, if someone would throw it, it will grow into a plant one day, you know, and that has led me into researching towards PLA cornstarch basically cups, which are basically biodegradable. 3D printing is the choice because I studied in industrial design, and from there I was exposed to so much about this future technology back then that could change the way things are done in the world. And from there I started researching it on my own and basically getting technical advice online and also consulting people to make sure that I can design things out of using 3D printing. So guys, this is basically our final project, and this is after the designers got into it and we basically printed it. As you can see, it comes from filament, is basically the corn itself, and it extruded in a very nice line, and then from there it goes into details around there, and then it's extruded out here. So basically this can go about 200 degrees hot just to melt it so that you can get the shape that you want. So this took us about 15 to like 10-20 minutes just to get this out, you know what I mean? And basically this is the future of how products are going to be made, but this is like a durable product that you could actually drink out of, you know, in the near future, and basically dispose it into the ground in a certain amount of compost, which can make it biodegrade. I've made so many mistakes in the venture when I started off. I think even on the 3D printing side, I failed more than 50 times where I wanted to give up, but I had hoped that this is possible to get products that are made out of PLA, which is basically cornstarch or sugarcane, to be produced for mainstream. So the one thing that I've learned from my mistakes is planning ahead, and also being open-minded and be willing to fail, you know what I mean, and not being scared to fail, because throughout a failure, that's when you learn the most, and that's where you're able to develop new things. A lot of people are very afraid of failing, but once you fail 500 times, that 501 time might be the time that you get it right. So I understand the process of failure, it's important and it's required for success. I think the best way to motivate people to be much more environmental conscious is for them to be aware of where the waste is going. When you put something into the rubbish bin, does not mean that it's just gonna go into a nice place and it disappear. It stays for almost 500 years, specifically plastic. And I want to motivate people to say, look, take care of what you're doing, try to find more ways to recycle, which is a very important thing, and avoid single-use plastic.
Wow.
Wow.
I want a 3D printer.
Man, my heart is so happy, man.
Yes.
How cool is that?
It's the best thing, and I think what I like about it, it's not just a gimmick, there's a cause behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is biodegradable cups, and the thing is, we are joined by the man himself. You saw him in that video, but he looks even better in person. This is Luvuyo Ndiki. Welcome to Expresso, my friend.
Thank you guys for having me here.
I'm smiling at you because I'm like, yes, thank you, man. I'm loving what you're doing, brother. Yeah. Oh, it's so good to have you.
So, I mean, you know, when I look at the video, and I'm thinking about you getting started.
Yeah.
You grew up in the township, and you go to other towns, and you see, there's a difference here with regard to waste and litter. Was that the turning point for you to say you need to make a difference?
Yeah, but I think it's also been like a journey throughout, you know, where at first I was not really used to the whole impacts of plastic. I was just like any other consumer, just throwing everything on the floor. But I think as time went by, I realized that, look, man, the amount of plastic that I'm putting out there, where is it going?
Yeah.
You know, so when I started finding that source, that's when everything started to change, you know?
Yeah, and that's so cool. And now, listen, I'm also understanding that not only you're just making cups, right, but you've also got a big involvement in that creative marketing space, so to speak. So, I mean, it's, you're working events, you're providing this beautiful product. How is that impacting that entire market, especially with the youngsters coming through? I mean, normally you just have a drink and then you're done with it. So, I mean, how is that impacting things at the moment?
I think it also comes with like the responsibility, you know, and I think from my side, through the whole journey that I traveled, I realized like, look, a lot of people come for custom-made stuff. And South Africans, we like things that are made for me. And you don't get that out there. So when people came to me, be like, I want a cup that's made for me. At the same time, I was like, okay, cool, I can custom make it. At the same time, what if it was something, if you threw it, it'll just dissolve, you know? And that's how the whole thinking came about. What if you threw it, it became a plant, you know? Just so you play around with your mind. And that's the whole concept of the biodegradable products, you know? And the nice thing with 3D printing, you can custom make anything. Same thing as like how NASA would go out of space. The only machine they would take most of the time is a 3D printer. Because it lowers the cost. You don't have to travel everything. You can just make it out of space. You know, that's the kind of same concept where you can make everything on demand, you know, but at the same time being conscious of what you're leaving behind.
So it's like the world is, your creativity is your limitation when it comes to this game, right?
Definitely.
Oh man, it's wild. Can you think, your mind is just like, what can I make?
I'm realizing that I shouldn't have a 3D. I print everything. I shouldn't have a 3D print.
I can picture Carl in his office 3D printing away.
What shall I make today? No, but you know, when it comes to what you mentioned is that the young people and acknowledging plastic as something that is, it is a problem on a global scale. You decided to do a biodegradable festival last year. And especially on a year like last year, that was a bold move, but you did it, and I'm proud of you because awareness is so important. How did the festival go?
Look, the festival, for starters, it went well, but I think we could have done much better. But I think for the first one, it was much of a challenge, and I think I was very stubborn to say, whoever wanted to come on board will come on board, but if you don't want to be part of this, I'm going ahead with it, you know? That's the kind of mentality that I have, and that's the kind of push that I have. And a lot of people were like, no, let's do it next day, let's push it later on. And yet COVID hit, and it's like I knew, but at the same time, it happened. And one thing that I could say I saw from out of it, there's a lot of different products that are not there, that are not biodegradable. And I feel like that's why now we are moving into mass customization. I can actually provide those different biodegradable products and on demand, you know what I mean? So the biodegradable festival is still going to be there, you know. Let's wait till things cool down a bit, you know. I think it's a baby that I also want to nurture in the future.
Luvuyo, I'm thinking about this while you're speaking and telling me all this, and I almost feel like you are a modern day superhero. Let me tell you why, man. You're literally going around looking at all the problems in the world. Problem, plastic, there's a problem. Let me switch that up, make it biodegradable. Some plastic there, let me switch that out. Bam, 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 bam. And you could literally change the world, and there's so much impact that you can do. So, I mean, you started off with these cups, but where to next? What's the next step? Is it going to get bigger? I mean, what's the plans for you?
Man, there's no limit, you know. For me, I think since I was born, I always had this bigger feeling that I had to do more, you know. And also, like, my upbringing was very special. I grew up in an 1820 settlers village, you know, where it was just extraordinary school, you know. But all that knowledge and all of that has brought me to understand that, like, what I'm doing now is just the beginning, you know. Because what's happening next, I'll be 3D printing houses in the next future, you know. Just imagine that being done in 24 hours, you know. Just, you look at the problem, you don't have to point fingers. See what you can do, and the next person can learn from you. They'll be inspired from you. So that's what I'm doing from my side.
Absolutely love it.
No. You, my friend, there's something here, and I'm glad we were here. Do you feel that?
Yeah, we were here.
With the 3D printer man. The superhero you're talking about. This is Luvuyo Ndiki. He's the founder of Red Cup Village. Please go check it out. If you've got Google, you can go over and just find out all the details that he aims to be part of the growing movement toward ethical environmentalism. Big words, but important words in our country that includes the moving away from wasteful living to a more sustainable way of living through his 3D printed biodegradable cups. It's incredible. Remember the name Luvuyo Ndiki. You heard him here and saw him here first on Expresso.
Listen, I'm so distracted here. Grant Hines is showing me the ropes on how to use the PS5, and we're playing Ride 4 at the moment. I have Graham's score to beat. He did it in 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Did Ryle have a score yet?
He has not.
Okay.
You're second on the board there. Look, it's just an empty space.
Okay, 2 minutes and 25 seconds is the time for me to beat.
I'm really excited to see how you're doing. Zoe's had some practice, and also Zoe does traffic. So because of that, I think she's got some kind of upper hand. We're going to be racing on Kalani, for those of you who've just tuned in, which obviously is a South African track, but it's not made by South African developers, so that's really exciting, that they're giving us notice here. Come, Zoe, this is a rolling start. I want to see what you are capable of doing. So if you're seeing on TV for the first time that there are these blue lines in front of Zoe, that just means that those are your racing guiding lines. Riding a motorbike is extremely hard, especially racing it, and Ride 4 is a simulator, so it's trying to get this game as realistic as possible, so it makes riding a motorbike as authentic and experienced digitally as it can. So Zoe, you could just put foot, but make sure when you hit that corner, you're hitting it on the outside. Oh, okay.
There we go. Ooh.
I say that like I'm helping her. I think
You
she's
are,
doing.
like
you're doing better than I
I'm
did.
about the brakes though. That's my problem. Oh,
Okay, on the racetrack, the grass is not the racetrack though. But 25 seconds in, and we can keep going.
Turning.
I think, Graham's sitting on 225. I'm last to get my score.
I just feel like I shouldn't rush this because I can just naturally beat Graham's score.
Motorbikes go really fast, and you don't want to go really, really fast around the corner.
I've got a nice stretch here based on that map in the corner of the screen.
You got to make sure that you slow down see, now hit that brake. There we go. Now turn. Now push foot.
There we go. I love how I can take corners on this.
We believe in you. What are you doing, Zoe? You said you did traffic. You did traffic.
Maybe I'm causing the traffic here. Oopsie.
Oh no!
I that once.
No, don't worry. Your time is still ticking, so it's a minute over.
Okay.
If you guys have got the game at home and you've got your own scores, make sure that you take a photograph. I want to see what you guys get on Kalani, because Kalani is like a local track, so it'll be really cool to see it. If you guys have got, so the score of the lap time is Zoe's top time in the top right. It says invalid lap, but we're gonna
complete it.
We're gonna complete the lap.
This is valid for me.
It's invalid when it comes to what a real lap is for motorbike racing, because if you get off the course onto the sand and the gravel, it like invalidates your lap. But so in order to be in the race, you need to be able to be on the track.
Okay, I now know why men don't listen to you when they play video games. I'm just hearing this.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso. Let's talk finance. The all-important annual budget speech for South Africa was, of course, delivered by Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, yesterday afternoon. And while all the figures and projections may sound a little daunting and complicated to some, it's a simple discussion on how our government plans to tax us and then how they plan to spend that revenue gained. And joining us via video call now this morning to help us understand what has been laid out in our budget for the coming fiscal year is the Manager of Public Economics and Modelling at DNA Economics, Fosheer Venter. Fosheer, very good morning. I'm sure an interesting time of the year for you, especially in your lane, but a great morning to be connecting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and good morning.
So Fosheer, just to start us off, obviously it's a very, very interesting. We saw the fluctuations and we saw all of those nuances of the budget speech, but let's bring it down for a second. I mean, why is it recommended for the general population to pay attention to what is outlined in the budget speech?
Yeah, I think that's an important question. I would put it on to two main reasons, really. The first is, I think the one that intuitively we kind of know is the fact that we pay taxes, and therefore we want to know that how government is going to spend that, meaning that the budget speech and the budget processes are mechanisms through which government is held accountable for their decisions to the people that pay taxes. So that's firstly very important. And secondly, from a more kind of economic point of view, a sequence of bad decisions around budgeting at the government level can have very detrimental negative impacts on the economy later down the line. And having government explain those to us and explain their decisions to us so that they can defend those decisions is therefore really important. So it is important for us to pay attention, because eventually even the smallest decision within the budget can affect us quite meaningfully.
Yeah, man, and we work hard to pay those taxes. We want to know exactly how it's being spent. So let's break down some of the key points here that Minister Mboweni outlined yesterday in that speech. What can be said about the tax proposals that were put forward, and what were some of the pleasant surprises? Hit us with some good news.
Yeah, so from a tax perspective, it was at least from the taxpayer's perspective, it was generally relatively good news. It was quite remarkable in the run-up to this budget speech, where we had there was quite a bit of talk in the media about drastic tax measures. Everyone kind of knows that the budget is in trouble. And I think a lot of people assumed and were hoping that it wouldn't be so, but that tax measures would be used. Our minister did not really do this. I think in fact, around income tax, there was some relief. With the same income, you will actually be paying less tax next year. And income tax on your salary at least. And then on the company income tax was quite a surprise to me as well, where they've decreased the rate of income tax from company income tax from 28 to 27%. Now that's not this year, that's only starts next year. And it is possible that looks better than it is. The way that they plan to do that is to, even though they're decreasing the rate, they are increasing the tax base, meaning that they're going to provide less tax incentives. There are fewer deductions you can do before you calculate your tax. So that might be a kind of a revenue neutral idea. But overall, I think taxpayers will be quite relieved. Maybe the drinkers and the smokers not so much. But I didn't think that the taxes on those were as bad as they theoretically could have been.
Now, for sure, we know that that particular speech, there were certain things outlined in terms of spending priorities, but we can't help the fact that COVID-19 is here. And apparently this is also a massive priority for government. But I would like you to elaborate on what has been budgeted for our COVID spending and how this is also being covered in our contingency reserve as well.
Okay, so yes, so that's quite an interesting question, and it's something that I haven't necessarily seen before, at least recently, on what they've done. So government has put away about 10.1 billion rand for the vaccination program specifically. So that includes the procurement and the distribution. It includes the administration of the vaccine to our population, as well as some research into our own vaccination program. So that's good money. But what they've done, which is interesting this year, is usually when they budget 3 years in advance, as they do, they put away what they call a contingency reserve. Now that's around 5 billion rand usually, and then you can think about that as like an emergency fund in general. So what they've done for next year, because they don't know what the vaccination program is going to cost, they've put away an additional 7 billion rand into the contingency reserve, of which so the total is 12, of which 9 is then specifically as an emergency fund for the vaccination program, which I think is very, very good practice and should really be commended. And then just finally, they have also extended the COVID Social Relief of Distress Fund by 6.3 billion rand into the future slightly, but which is also, I think, very, very needed at this point.
So I think on balance, fairly positive for the little man, for the big man as well. Just not for the drinkers and the smokers out there, but that might have been expected. For sure, thank you so much for breaking that down for us. I think clearly focus in the right areas, which is most importantly what the public wanted to hear, that we are dealing with COVID and the vaccine, and that process seems to have brought a lot of confidence. But for sure, have an awesome day. I'm sure you've got a lot of numbers still to crunch today, so go and do your job, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good morning.
Pretty positive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yes, I mean, the syntax thing, I know, drinkers and smokers. However, that particular fund is really, really vital, though. That's the big news for the budget speech. For other news, here's Zoe.
Well, we will be continuing budget talk on our national news. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, delivering his 2021 budget yesterday, announced that it would not implement any tax increases this year. Instead, a 5% adjustment in personal income tax brackets will provide 2.2 billion rand in tax relief. However, excise duty on alcohol and tobacco products is increased by 8% points. Now, a 750 milliliter bottle of wine will cost 26 cents extra, and 340 mils of beer 14 cents more. Alcohol products such as whiskey and gin will rise by 5 rand 50, and a packet of 20 cigarettes will cost 1 rand 39 cents more. And more budget news. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni detailed how National Treasury intends to navigate an increasingly precarious financial position amid the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent economic fallout. In this environment, the budget has offered some tax relief while expanding spending on health, particularly the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. 9 billion rand of the country's budget will be going towards funding the free COVID-19 vaccination program. The long-awaited vaccinations will be provided free of charge, targeting 67% of the population over the next 12 months. And moving to news abroad, customs officials in Germany and Belgium seized more than 23,000 kilograms of cocaine in 2 raids this month. The drugs were destined for the Netherlands. The street value of the shipment is more than $700 million. In Hamburg, Germany, more than 16 tons of cocaine were confiscated, and that's on a cargo ship from Paraguay. The rest of the drugs came from Panama and were found in Antwerp, Belgium. This follows one of the largest heroin seizures ever in Europe, when officials in Rotterdam discovered some 1.5 tons of this drug. And staying with news beyond our own borders, Ghana has become the first country to receive coronavirus vaccines through the COVAX vaccine sharing initiative. A delivery of 600,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine arrived in Accra yesterday. The first recipients are to be healthcare workers. The COVAX scheme aims to reduce the divide between rich countries and poorer nations unable to buy doses. The program plans to deliver about 2 billion vaccine doses globally by year-end. Ghana, with a population of over 30 million, was chosen as the first recipient of the free vaccines after promising quick distribution. And now news of rescuers saving 28 whales from stranding. Rescuers raced to save dozens of pilot whales which had breached on a stretch of New Zealand's coast at Farewell Spit, notorious for mass strandings yesterday. Jubilant rescuers managed to eventually refloat a group of 28 of the whales. Sadly, more than a dozen didn't make it. The long-fin pilot whales, which had restranded themselves once before, appear to have finally swam out to sea. They were part of a pod of 50 located on Monday. Some 40 whales were pushed out to sea on Monday evening, but swam back ashore the next morning. More than 60 volunteers then moved the 28 survivors back into the water for the second time. The dead whales were moved to an area of the beach not used by the public, where the bodies will receive a blessing from the local Maori tribe. Scientists are unclear about why the Farewell Spit beach is so deadly. One theory is that the spit creates a shallow seabed in the bay, which interferes with the whales' sonar navigation systems. Well, on that note, that's where we leave your morning headlines. Let's take a quick look at your sport.
Thank you so much. So let's start with local cricket now, heading into the business end of what has been a great tournament so far. The Dolphins recording a 41-run victory over the Lions in their CSA T20 Challenge match at Kingsmead in Durban yesterday. The Lions were all out for 110 thanks to spin bowlers Keshav Maharaj and Pranelan Subrayan. In the earlier encounter, the Warriors registering their first win in the tournament after beating the Titans by 43 runs to keep their playoff hopes alive. And the Warriors will take on the Knights in the only T20 Challenge fixture today. That one kicks off at 2:30 p.m. Keeping it local, SuperSport United and Orlando Pirates played out to a 1-1 draw at the Lucas Moripe Stadium in the Premier Soccer League yesterday. The result sees the Buccaneers now move up to 4th place on the standings, while SuperSport, they remain in second on the log, now 3 points behind log leaders and defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns. And in other PSL results, TS Galaxy, they were able to beat Bloem Celtic 1-0 in Nelspruit. A little further afield, goals by Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus securing a 2-0 victory for Manchester City over German side Borussia Mönchengladbach at the Puskas Arena in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg last night. This was in fact City's 12th away win in a row, a record for an English top flight club. That second fixture of the night saw a 10-man Atalanta suffer a 1-0 defeat at the hands of visitors Real Madrid, who left it late in Italy. Then staying with football, Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur, they cruised into the UEFA Europa League last 16 after thrashing Austrian club Wolfsberger AC 4-0 in the last 32, second leg tie last night. Dele Alli's superb overhead kick and a brace by Carlos Vinicius and a 73rd minute goal by Gareth Bale securing the win for Spurs. So Tottenham claiming in the end an 8-1 aggregate win after winning the first leg in Budapest 4-1. That's where we leave our sport for now. Let's take another look at the weather.
Thanks a lot, Graham. We've asked you to send through your sunrise pictures and you sure have pulled through. Thank you so much for this. We kick off your 7 a.m. update with this golden photo submitted by Merlin Phillips from George. Expect times of sun and rain with your maximum peaking at 22 degrees Celsius. Tandeka Mgoza from Mpandle, KZN, shared this beautiful image showing the picturesque blue sky over the hills in the distance over area. Expect a thunderstorm later in the day with a peak of 20 degrees Celsius. If you would like to see your sunrise photo featured during our weather segment, it's really simple. All you need to do is share your picture on the Expresso Facebook page. We can't forget about international viewers tuned in via YouTube and Africa channel. Dar es Salaam is our featured international city for this bulletin. Dar es Salaam is the largest city and former capital of Tanzania. Due to the close proximity to the equator and Indian Ocean, the city experiences tropical climatic conditions, which leaves residents experiencing hot and humid weather throughout much of the year. Today will be a warm day with a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius. Today will start out cloudy with it clearing up as the day progresses. Staying with weather news, the U.S. state of Texas, where shock and anger rage on over power failures that left millions shivering and without electricity and heat for days, has just experienced its second coldest week on record, according to the state climatologist. This as Texas Governor Greg Abbott yesterday issued a damning statement acknowledging the resignations of 4 board members of Texas's power grid operator after millions of state residents were left without power during days of unprecedentedly frigid temperatures last week. Abbott Abbott said they had given assurances that Texas's power infrastructure was prepared for the winter storm, but those assurances proved to be devastatingly false. He said the lack of preparedness and transparency was unacceptable. Operations had returned to normal, but tens of thousands were still without power until a few days ago as crews struggled to repair downed lines. Now, a look at the temperatures from across South Africa, and I'm going to start with you, Paula Kwana. Good morning to you. 17 and to your high of 25 a little later. 11% chance of precipitation in your area. You've got Bombela, 20 to 27, 51% chance of thunder showers. Also thunder showers in Pretoria, 63% chance, 23 your high from a low of 17. Johannesburg, 16 to 22 today, 52% chance of thunder showers there. 27 the high in Mahikeng, 16 this morning. Klerksdorp, 16 to 27, 52% chance of thunder showers. Kimberley, 14 to 32 today. Bloemfontein, 28 the high from a low of 12. Richards Bay, 21 to 26. Pietermaritzburg, 23 is your high from a low of 17. Durban, you are 21 this morning, 25 a little bit later. Mthatha, a 70% chance of rain, 20 the high from a low of 14. East London, 17 to 24. Cradock, 12 to 29. Gqeberha, 17 to 23 today with a 63% chance of rain. George, also some rain expected, 55% chance, 22 the high from a low of 15. Cape Town, 19 to 23. Worcester, 12 to 30 for you. Sutherland peaks at 26 from a low of 7. And then Uppington, highest temperature award as per usual, 35 the high, and that is from a low of 18 this morning. Thank you so much for all of your sunrise pictures. Please keep them coming. We love the visuals, but it's time for a bit of audio as well with our music group New Hero on Expresso.
Yeah, the moment we've all been waiting for. And of course, this morning we've got a special opportunity to get to know the men behind the magic, of course, and that is the band New Hero. And right now they're about to perform their latest single, and it's called Smiling. Enjoy.
Just trying to make you proud. There's always sunshine when you're smiling. Without you, I'm slowly dying. And as the raindrops fall, so do I into your arms. There's always sunshine when you're smiling. When you're smiling. When you're smiling. When you're when you're smiling, smiling, sunshine, sunshine. Late days rolling tonight, nothing changed, we always fight. I'm feeling pain, we both keep placing blame. You say that when I pay you my it always makes you feel so good. I'm just trying to make you proud.
and gentlemen, that is one way to kick off your morning. Of course, it's New Hero with their new single, Smiling, and there's going to be so much more magic coming from them right after this. So stick around for more lovely stuff, man. Yes!
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Got like a little intro finally.
I love it when guests have intros like this, especially with some very, very important things we have to chat about. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso. Welcome back. This is SABC3. And being in lockdown means that we are consuming content online now more than ever before. And many people have chosen to become online content creators as a means of generating income safely from their home. While being a creator can be fun and meaningful, there are many guidelines one has to be familiar with across the various platforms. And one of these is the contentious issue of using copyrighted media in our content.
Yeah, of course. We've got the man himself. We're calling upon the legal eagle, our guidance expert. He is Ethan Stern. He's all the way from legalese.co.za, of course, and he's here to answer the question. And I, of course, want to know, can we use copyrighted media in my online content? And am I going to be held liable? I don't know. So many questions. Ethan Stern, of course, here to shed all the light. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's a bit early.
Yep, it always is.
It's a little early, but I'm good.
But what better time than to have a voice of reason, man? And look, it's a contentious subject we're talking about, copywriting. Yeah. I'm living in this space. I know Carl is as well. We use music all the time, throwing it in videos, and we don't even know if we're allowed to or not. So, man, like, what is it all about? What stake and what claim do I have when it comes to copywriting?
Cool.
What talk to me, man. I have so many questions.
Okay, so I think it's a big intro point. Like, this is a complex idea because there's often not straight lines. There's often a lot of gray area. And why? Because music and art is fluid, it's progressive, it's fluid, whereas law is all about creating rules. And if you're trying to match the two together, they were never supposed to be friends. But obviously, because content, music is so valuable, we need to create laws around them. So, but there's always going to be gray areas. So what is it? Well, any content or any artistic work that you create, and that's going to be musical works, literary works, cinematographic works, photographs. There's different categories in the Copyright Act. If you create those, you enjoy the ownership over them, and we call that ownership copyright. And in South Africa, copyright is automatic. So you don't need to register your song or your painting that you've made. Just from the fact that you've created it means you own the copyright in it.
Okay, I like that.
So when I look at music, I mean, music's it's the best way to like articulate it. You know, in fact, you said it's early. I would have wanted to use Wham! Wake me up before you go. And I can't use the video because it's Wham's video, and you can post it up on Facebook and Instagram and any of those platforms or YouTube, and then suddenly it gets shut down.
Totally.
You don't own the content, and I think that's a gray area for everybody. Do you have any insight as to what the algorithm is that shuts us down, pretty much?
Also, I got to just interrupt. Also, like, to stop us from putting all that effort into it and then can't even use it. Like my week's worth of work.
Exactly. My Wham video.
Okay, am I allowed to just take this and have this?
Well, you just did, but I didn't like that.
Okay, sure.
But no, it's mine.
So intellectual property, copyright, works the exact same as regular property. Yeah. That's yours. You own it. I can't just take that from you without your permission. It's no different with music. Someone's put effort into it, and that's their Wham as an extreme example, they've made a lot of money. But, you know, a lot of people that are creating music out there for use online, this is what they do for a living. And every time someone uses it without their permission, they lose a sale. So, how do the algorithms work? Well, all these sites, they've got a big objective. How do they make sure people load content without taking other people's copyright? And they do it by scanning. There's probably a lot of complex AI involved that scan the videos. If they pick up something that's from a copyright library, they flag it and it's taken down. But yeah, I mean, the short answer of it is you're not supposed to use people's people's copyright that you don't own unless you get permission to do it.
Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting because now we're talking about permission. And if I use the example of the gram, when I upload videos, I have the option to upload a song with it as well now.
This gram.
I like what you did there.
Instagram Saunders.
Instagram. Now, so what happens if I'm putting a video out on Instagram? It's a workout video. I put some music with it. I'm monetizing it because the brand's working with me on this. Now, what happens in that instant? I maybe have credited the artist instead of using the music. So is that cool? Am I good?
So the crediting, so it's a great question. Let's start with the crediting aspect. If I steal your iPad and say, this is Raul's iPad, I've stolen it, it still doesn't make it right. So just because you credit someone doesn't mean you're allowed to steal their stuff. So crediting doesn't make it right by any means. Are you allowed to use it? So there's a difference here between the offense and damages for the offense. So if you use someone's music, you've created you've done something wrong. But for the most part, no one's lost any money, no one's suffered any harm. If for a regular kind of Instagram or YouTuber putting something online when they're not monetizing it, no one's really suffered any harm. So the copyright owners won't really mind. Very different to if you're monetizing a video, if there's a brand behind it, or if, say, Expresso TV is using a Wham song as part of their marketing, then that's very different. And then the labels or people own it are going to say, well, you've used my thing to make money. Why don't I get a piece of that money? So, the offense is always going to be the same, but the damages is what we're talking about. So if you're in the business, if you're a regular Instagrammer, I wouldn't worry too much about what you put in the background. Even if you use someone's copyright, is a label really going to come after Eitan Stern, with my 300 followers? Very unlikely. Very different to you with your tens of thousands of followers who are there to see your brands and that's a bit different. So depending on how you're using the social media platform, you need to deal with copyright a little bit differently.
Oh, you know what? The taste buds are tantalized, Eitan, and I know that there are many content creators as well as musicians that'll need to hear about this conversation. So now what with lawyer Eitan Stern? So our second part, we'll cover some very interesting stuff. So you may want to stick around for that. But let's chat to another content creator, John Savage.
Thank you very much for staying with your Feel Good Breakfast show, Expresso. Now, let's talk about this. We know that we've heard this one. The on-demand nature of podcasts has seen a huge surge in popularity of the medium. It's growing exponentially. But many people don't know that podcasts actually do go back to the 1980s, and they were initially called audio blogging. And today, over 30 million podcast episodes have been released as podcasting continues to grow in popularity in South Africa and all over the world.
Of course, this hashtag Tech Thursday, who better to give us a beginner's guide to podcasts than a man who has for years been at the forefront of content creation, now content creator, and the man behind the What's Your Poison podcast. Mr. John Savage joins us via video call to offer some top tips on podcasting. John, it's so good to be able to connect with you on this space because, like Tabisa said, podcasting really is the forefront. It's big. Everybody is talking about it.
Now, why do you think podcasts have become so popular, particularly during the national lockdown in South Africa? Were people just looking for content, or what was the hunger?
Well, I think, look, I've been a proponent of podcasting for 10 years. So it's, I don't know what, the lockdown has just sped up the need for digital content. So it was always there and it was always heading in the same direction. It wasn't, I don't think podcasting is new in the demand space. I just think it's been accelerated. But the thing about podcasts that I love is that traditional media like radio and TV tend to serve like a wide audience. You want to reach as many people as you can. But in podcasting, the kind of more weirdly nerdy or small your niche is, the more popular you can be. For example, if you like, if you were a fishing nut and you like very specific weird kind of fishing rods, you would probably find if you put that content on radio, very few people will be interested in it. But if you put it in a podcast, a very obscure fishing podcast, you probably find that maybe there's 20,000 people around the world who are obsessed with your podcast. And with that, you can monetize that, because now, if you're a fishing company, for example, would you rather have your fishing rod seen on a radio station where 1 million people are going to see it, or in a place where there's 10,000 fishing mad enthusiasts who want the weirder, more expensive, difficult things? So I think podcast allows us to indulge our weirdest interests. You can learn the language. You can, whether it's comedy, entertainment, funny interviews, see a different side of an interview. Even in a space like this, the problem with being on TV is I have a time limit to try and tell you a message. In the podcasting world, I can have a conversation with you for 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours. It doesn't matter. And so it's a whole new sort of, for those who obsessed with content like me, it's a new way to get very deep in the content you really are passionate about. I just fell down well, maybe I won't tell you that. I went down a pit of obsessing about a particular thing, and I just found podcasts and episode, and now I'm a supposed couch expert on that particular thing. And I think that's why podcasts are obsessive and really cool. And you can learn a lot from everything in the podcasting domain.
And yes, you're not the only person that falls off the stairs, you know what I mean?
John, speaking of podcasts, you, like I mentioned, you have a podcast called What's Your Poison? Maybe give us some background on your podcast and who have been some of the guests on your show, and where can people tune in?
So my podcast is an accident. I work with so many people on podcasts, and I create podcasts for other people. During lockdown, I was working so hard. I wanted to do something that was just for fun, just for me. And I had this idea. And again, this speaks to the nature of podcasts. I just want to talk to people I like or people I admire, and send a bottle of whiskey to their house, make them drink it while we talk, and see what happens. No agenda, no preparation, and see. And what kind of happened very quickly is that the whiskey starts to loosen some lips, and you start getting really deep, cool stories that they wouldn't ordinarily tell. And again, it's only something you can do in the podcasting space. It's no hold bars, weird conversations with no agenda that are like an hour long. One of the beauties of podcasts, the more natural they are. In other words, you start them because it's something you're passionate about, the better they are. When you're trying to sort of corner a market and you approach it from a corporate perspective, it's very hard because people know. The weirder, the more obscure, the more niche your idea is, the better your podcast can do. And I don't know that I'm doing anything special with my podcast, but people are relating to the really deepness and kind of silliness of the interviews.
And I suppose then it can organically grow into a space where you're able to commercialize and earn from whatever that niche space or market is that you're speaking to. You've got my full interest. I want to start a podcast today, all right? For someone like me who's looking to start a podcast, what are some of the things or equipment I'm going to need?
So this is the beauty of podcasting. The barrier to entry is nil. And in terms of equipment, you can have like fancy mics and stuff if you want, but you don't need them. You can create, edit, and broadcast podcasts directly from your phone. So there's kind of two things. There's the hardware, three things: hardware, the software, and the distribution. The hardware is very simple. You need a mic. Your phone has a mic. You can buy a mic. You can use your laptop. And if you're just doing a talkie podcast, whether the person is in your room or whether you're doing them like I'm on a Zoom call now, you just Zoom the guy and press record, and you've got a recording of the audio. Then the second part is editing, and there's lots of free editing software. You want the thing to at least sound professional, so you can there's a free piece of software called Audacity, any free editing software. And then for distribution, Spotify has released this product called Anchor, and it does the whole thing for free for you. You upload your podcast onto Anchor, and it distributes it to Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, anywhere, Apple, everywhere you want to go. So those are the 3 steps, and there's nothing stopping anyone from starting a podcast. What I would just say is, keep podcasts lo-fi, because if you're ambitious with your podcast, you need sustainability. What works in this digital space is consistency. So if you start an elaborate 3-camera podcast with the most famous people in South Africa, you're not going to be able to sustain that. You need it to be really simple and easy to do, so you can do it every week. So it's a slow growth. With my What's Your Poison podcast, I have a 5-year strategy that I've put together, and I'm halfway through the first year only. And that's how you grow an audience.
I think this is great.
Beautiful.
John Savage, thank you so much for your time this morning, teaching us all things podcast and just the digital space that you're in. I'm sure we'll see you for many more years to come, but thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Make sure to tune into his podcast, What's Your Poison, as season 2 continues to take off with more enticing and captivating content. In a bit, Grant Hines will bring us the latest in podcast equipment. You want to check that out.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Expresso, Grant Hines joining us on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And I feel like that little intro is just missing the pink hair to really just give it a full roundup of what Grant has. Now, when we are talking about podcasts, it is versatile, it is accessible, and it's entertaining and available almost everywhere. It's no wonder that podcasts have had such a rise in popularity. So that's why Grant is here to join us in studio to talk all things what it takes to actually put such a production on and the tech involved and how you can really I'm assuming not break the bank in order to start off with your podcast.
You can start off with the basic stuff, and then we can also break the bank as well.
Yes.
So we'll go through everything that you need to, and obviously John broke through a lot of the stuff already, but obviously we're in studio and we've got some kits here that I'd like to show you. Podcasts, I listen to a lot of podcasts. It's my favorite form of entertainment. Like when I'm coming to work on the show in the morning, I like to fill my mind with what's happening, who's doing what's the latest in tech, and that's how I stay on top of trends, actually.
Okay.
You know, we are in our cars for a large part of the day. So creating your own podcast, if you have a niche and you're really excited about something, is something definitely worth doing.
Okay, so I can maybe like specialize in black cats or something.
Yes. Well, you've got lots of other interests. Yo, Zoe runs herself down all the time. So the first couple of things you need is a good microphone. This is the kit that I actually use at home.
Okay.
So you have something called a condenser microphone, which looks like this. It's usually like a capsule where it has only one front end. So if you're in a radio station all the time.
So projecting into the microphone, you need to be careful because there's nothing worse listening to any audio and the sound is bad.
100%. And also a podcast is just audio, so you want to make sure the sound is perfect. So you have like a cone in front of you and a microphone like this, which captures the sound and nothing from the back. There's no sound coming in from the back. So it's great if you are podcasting with multiple people and they're sitting around a table, like at a radio station, or if you are in a house where there's a lot of noise. You have to get quite close up to the microphone, which has a problem where you potentially have plosives.
Oh, that's where the popping sounds.
So for that, you have something called a pop filter. This here is a pop filter. What you see on screen is a big circular pop filter, but this one here, it just like fits on front of the microphone like this, and it will prevent any like plosives that are going into the microphone. So it just sounds a little bit better. Also, if you're using a desk like this and you've got a microphone, there's banging. You don't want the microphone to bang. You also have a product there that's called a shock mount. There's so many different kinds of shock mounts, but essentially what it does is it fits onto the microphone, and with these I don't know if you can see them, they're like springs, and make sure that the microphone doesn't get bumped against anything hard. It just kind of like a web, it holds it in place.
Yes, and if you accidentally just touch it, you won't hear that sound effect.
100%.
I like that.
Okay.
Now, for someone that, I'm derailing here now, but I'm thinking of the person at home that wants to start and they maybe can't afford a really cool mic like this. Is there an alternative for them?
There is, and John mentioned it. It's actually called something called Anchor.fm. The concept is that the best microphone is the microphone that you've got on you, which is very cool. So I've actually just projecting this here so you guys can see a little bit of how the podcasting tool works. But essentially, you can create a podcast directly from your phone with no other accessory. So you can record some audio input using your, I got out of this quick. You can record some audio input directly into the microphone, and then you can edit it, add jingles, add links, and then export it and publish it to your favorite platforms. Because obviously podcasts, like where are you going to listen to a podcast? It has to be done through like Google Podcasts or Apple iTunes, and this will then distribute those podcasts directly from your phone without you having to have any kit. Obviously, having the high-end kit allows you to do that. If you don't have a phone with a great microphone and you don't want to start I highly recommend just starting here, just doing it. Even if you just make something. If you don't have that stuff, then I really recommend getting a free piece of software called Audacity.
Okay.
Audacity is for your PC, and you can then record using a microphone like this or whatever microphone that you've got accessible to you at home, and then clip it down into a podcast. But my big pro tip is listen to podcasts. Whatever you want to make as a content creator, if you want to make the best stuff, consume the best stuff. A chef doesn't eat rubbish food.
No.
A chef eats the best food and knows how to make it. And if you want to be a great podcaster and content creator, consume the best podcasts and try reverse engineer them.
Quick question, how important is editing?
Editing is very important because you want to make sure that your audience is engaged for as longer period of time. If you're boring in front of the microphone,
you're going to lose me.
You're going to lose you. And that's why radio has such short inserts. It's 30 seconds generally, 30 seconds to a minute. Because you're doing this live. When you're editing a recorded podcast for 2 hours and you're waffling, or your friends think you guys are funny, generally you're not funny. Your friends think you're funny. You've got to be objective with what you're making, and that's really important.
Okay, I know we're running out of time here, but what is the ideal time frame for a podcast?
Anything anywhere between 20 minutes to 3.5 hours. I listen to 3.5 hour podcasts very easily over the course of, say you do 1 3.5 podcast in a week. I will listen to Giant Bombcast is probably my favorite podcast I listen to, and I'll listen to it throughout the week, and I'll just binge it.
Okay. Interesting. Well, Grant Hines is not going anywhere, and of course, if you would love to start your own podcast, you perhaps have any questions, you're welcome to head on over to our social media pages, and we are on Expresso Show's Facebook page, Instagram, as well as Twitter, and don't forget that hashtag Expresso Show.
Yes, very much picking up where we left off with our previous discussion. I'm joining the discussion now because I'm really interested to find out more, and we are chatting to lawyer and director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, as he breaks down the legal ins and outs of using copyrighted media online as a content creator, something that is happening, I would imagine, by the millions every day, because there are so many content creators out there, and you need a good track, man. You need a good tune.
Nice to have you, Instagram.
Thank you, man. Instagram?
Yeah, you're on our Instagram.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Raul.
we did chat a little bit about just covering the bases, but I think what needs to happen is there's something called fair use. And while all content creators and anybody making a video and using whatever they need to color it in, as you're mentioning, fair use is something that people need to know about. So can you elaborate for a second?
100%. So this is where the plot really thickens about copyright. It sounded quite simple at the beginning. You're not allowed to use people's copyrights. But unfortunately, things are not. However, things are not that simple. So you've got this idea of fair use, and fair use says that in certain limited circumstances, you could use someone's copyright without it infringing their copyright offense. So you could use their song without committing a crime or a wrong to them. Put differently, I could take your iPad and for it not to be wrong. So there's limited circumstances, and this is going to be things like if you're using it for an educational context, if you're using it for political or social commentary or to comment on current events, if you're using it for satire, and there's and a couple of others, and there's different contexts in how it's used. So, for example, every time the newspaper prints a story or mentions something, or if you see a news segment and they've let's say the news was about a piece of art or about a song, that's not going to be copyright infringement. Why? Because it's what we call fair use. Okay. And so it's important. So if you're using copyright, if you're using someone else's copyright, you could do it if it fell within a fair use category.
So how does fair use extend to cover versions? On TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, so many emerging artists are using established artists' material to make a name for themselves, and they do it beautifully, and in some cases it's almost given a second life to some songs.
Yeah.
So how does that fall into fair use?
Okay, again, complex. So, I think, Carl, you put it quite nicely, that there's a difference between when you're using something commercially and when you're using something socially. And if you think about it, again, the offense is going to be copyright infringement if you use someone else's track, but it's no record, well, I say no record label. Most record labels are not going to take action against an individual person who's using something on TikTok or contributing towards a trend on TikTok. But if you're using it to monetize it in some way, they might. So, the fair use principle would look at, what context are you using it in? Are you using it on TikTok or YouTube to make money, or are you using it to comment on a current event? And here lies this real conundrum that's built in with copyright. The internet has taught us we need to share things as much as possible, and musicians want to create songs, and for it to be shared as much as possible, you want
They want it to get onto radios.
They want it to get onto radio. You want it to get people buying it. You want it to share. But at the same time, you want to hold it so that people aren't sharing it and not making money out of it. So it is. If it sounds complex, it is, because it is complex. There is a built-in conundrum there. And there's no exact rules, and each copyright owner really has the choice on how they want to deal with it. If you share something on TikTok and they don't want you to share it, then they could ask you to take it down.
So that really means that those copyright owners have to be on it, and they've got to be tracking what's going on and be really well connected to know what's.
Yeah, and now there's great software. It's funny, someone from the show was asking me this earlier. There's great software that's out there for that now as well, that you can track where music's used online, and it will notify you and issue takedown notices. But the last thing to mention over here is that, while you've got the law, copyright, etc., you've also got the terms of the platform that you're using. So TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, they are going to have policies on how they deal with copyright infringement. And if you're using something on their platform, even if you're obeying the law and you're in the fair use kind of category in the law, if they say no, then it's no, because it's their platform and they can decide.
Chances are they'll just take it down.
So, a quick golden rule with regard to it: check out the T's and C's.
Totally.
Make sure you're affair with all of those before you are posting.
Yeah, and it's actually, people always say, well, T's and C's is very boring, but check out YouTube. They've done it in a brilliant way. They've made videos around.
As they would.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. And they're like Sesame Street characters, I think, and they've made really interesting videos explaining how copyright works and how they use it. So go click on the little legal tab on YouTube, and it's done brilliantly. A really good example of how to explain to your audience what you can, what you can't do.
So what you're saying is the Cookie Monster could come and do your job. Could come.
100%. I would actually like it if the Cookie Monster did come to work one day. It'd be great.
Oh, so to all the budding content creators out there, or those of you that are just playing around on social media, hopefully this has given you some indication of where you need to begin. Maybe start with the T's and C's on your chosen platform, and then go and create some great content, man. Wham or not.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Ryle! Yo, what's
What
up?
are you
what's up,
doing?
what's up? Sorry, are we live? Are we live?
You're supposed to ride. You're supposed to ride on the track.
You need to do this. I'm playing.
I don't care. South Africa's watching. You need to ride on the track.
Look, I've just started my first lap, and this game is hard, man. It's so realistic. I literally feel like I'm leaning into the corners.
You have to lean a lot more than that. Now you just fallen off.
No, I'm just
we are
falling off the
playing
bike. Oh.
Ride 4. And we are getting Ryle a time trial. Graham is on 2 minutes 25 on Kyalami. Zoe is on 2 minutes 40 on Kyalami.
Wow.
So you've got to be.
The bar's been set, yeah.
The bar's been set. You've got to be
guys.
2 minutes 25.
Okay.
You know, the last time I was at Kyalami, I was there for Comic-Con.
Really?
Yeah, they had Comic-Con.
What did you go dressed up as?
I didn't dress up. I was just on stage doing some
You
stage
went
stuff.
as Grant Hines.
Yes,
Oh,
honestly,
wow.
I had pink hair, you know. People were like, hey, aren't you Grant Hines? I'm like, nah, I'm just cosplaying.
So that's pretty cool. So you can actually recognize some of these, some of the parts of this.
Hey, you're about to finish the first lap.
Yes, maybe.
I'm so impressed with you, Ryle. 2 minutes. If you hit the straight, you got 25 seconds to hit the straight.
Come on.
And make sure that you cross the finish line.
This is to beat G. We got this. How far are we? How far are we?
You can about to cross it now. 2 minutes, 6 seconds. 2 minutes, 6 seconds.
Grant, I've got to say though, this game is so intense.
Tell people about the
like,
triggers.
So literally, as I'm coming up here, I'm feeling a little bit of a rumble as my bike's braking. If I hit this little, I think it's called a chicane, I feel the bumps in the road as
I'm
well.
the same, bro.
I literally feel like I'm riding right now. My intensity and my energy and focus cannot be on you because I need to concentrate.
I know school, you got to focus. 2 minutes, 6 seconds.
Yes!
Okay? Is that the shortest time? 2 minutes 25, 2 minutes 40. Which of these is the shortest time?
So that's me, right?
Yes, you're the winner! Well, wait. I've still got a race, okay?
Oh no, Grant, but you've had so much practice.
Don't tell me about practice. I haven't gone up to a motorbike before.
Okay, fine, fair enough. So I've set the bar and you got to beat it, of course. But guys, clearly, as you can see, I can't even do my job anymore because I'm so addicted to this game. It's really feeling like I'm at Kyalami. I've just flown in there and I'm a professional. Never mind, professional. Yes, I am. I'm a professional MC racer.
Good.
That's what's up. You saw it here first. But let's see if Grant can beat me at this one. We're coming up with another version of Ride 4 later on. Yes!
That game is addictive.
I noticed, so sorry, let me go with a quick sidebar here. Zoe's been playing it for the past, 30 minutes?
I've been trying to beat my own score and I keep just like knocking off a second or two, but I haven't really made a big dent enough to like change it up. But we are now focusing on social media. We asked you this morning the question, if you had to start your own podcast, what would it be about? And this is some of the responses that you've had. Okay, taking a look at one that came through from Andre that says, scenes from a chair. Keeping families together. That's cute.
I would definitely listen to that. That sounds intriguing. You get all of the family dynamics and all of the shouting as well over lunch. That makes a lot of sense.
But we also, in terms of our family structure, my uncle has the most incredible like family history stories, and he always keeps us so like caught up when he shares that, so I like that idea. Let's take a look at Suleiman that sent us this one that says, I am starting a podcast soon. It's called the Casual Dork Podcast.
You know what? I'm so glad. I like podcasts that will focus on sort of, let me say it, normal things. And I think it's relatable in that way. So well done. I can't wait to listen to that one. Over to the next comment from your side, and that is from Dat Thing, Van Bangala Cry. I love that name. And then it's basically Bangle C Show, Music and Life.
Very interesting.
All right,
Very
it does sound cool. But I feel like the true test of a podcast is how much it can instruct you. And I'm thinking maybe, can you make a recipe from a podcast while listening?
Interesting. Let's find out.
Well, I'm hoping we can, really hoping, because we put a lot of prep into this particular recipe today. Delicious food, yes, can be found everywhere, including and very often on our social media feeds, on TV, and even in the news. And for the ultimate foodie, this is the perfect combo of inspiration to be found wherever they look. But what about taking a step in a new direction and diving into some foodie podcasts? Well, Angie is in the house today to discuss two of her favorite podcast channels, which is really cool. You're a podcastie. podcasty. Does that make it podcasty? But it is. It's a great way to, as John Savage pointed out, to do a deep dive into a subject.
Yeah.
Not just get an Instagrammable snapshot, but actually get into the story behind it, the person behind it, the nuance of particular things, and looking at the 3,500 ingredients that we have on this table. I'm guessing there's a lot of nuance to creating this. But where did you find the inspiration for this particular recipe?
Okay, so this is from the Bon Appetit Foodcast. So they did a whole experiment on the best chicken parm. They call it chicken parm because it's an American podcast.
So it's like an American-Italian dish.
Yeah, so it's chicken parmigiana actually is the full name, and it is an American-Italian dish. So it's definitely not Italian-Italian, it's more immigrant American-Italian.
Cool, I dig it.
So it's a version of, so what they did is they did a whole experiment of different ways of doing the sauce and the cheese and the chicken and the this and the that. And then they kind of coalesced it into this particular recipe that they decided was the best. So we are trying it out.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad that they've spent the hours of work to get us to the point that we get to now benefit from all of that inspection.
Right.
There is a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Okay, so I'll help out
we're
wherever I can.
We're going to divide it up in, basically, it's 3 different elements. So we've got our sauce, tomato sauce, we've got our chicken, crumb chicken, and then the cheese that goes on top. So it's not that bad. It's just, it looks a little bit...
Okay, and it's process driven. So you've got to kind of do things
You've got to do it in step by step. So we'll start with the sauce. So we've got some olive oil in here.
Oh, and that finished sauce looks amazing. That deep color looks beautiful.
It is. Look, in making it and in prepping it, we have realized that we would make a few changes ourselves.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
South Africanize it.
We would South Africanize it. I think Americans do have a different flavor profile to us. They like different things.
Oh, completely.
So what we're doing is we're just sauteing off the onions, and they would have put in the garlic now. I always put the garlic in last because it's going to burn, and then you get that bittering.
For sure.
So we're going to add some. This is a super tomatoey tomato sauce.
Which is kind of what you want, maybe?
Ish. It's a little bit too tomatoey. I would have added a bit of water to this just to thin it down a bit.
Okay.
And I'd add a splash of vinegar, and I find that adding, and it sounds counterintuitive, but a splash of vinegar into this very acidic tomato actually somehow releases it.
Okay.
So I always add a splash of vinegar.
Is that why we add sugar to tomatoes to balance out the acidity of it?
Too acidic. So we've got some chili flakes. They would have used red pepper flakes, but I've never seen that. So some chili flakes.
I'm all for the chili, cool.
And then they've got the sugar in here. Sugar, and the amount of sugar in here is like negligible.
Yeah, minuscule.
You might as well not bother. So
the tomato itself probably has a similar amount of sugar in it just naturally as a fruit.
And what we'd also do is definitely not put all of this tomato puree in. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's only 4, it's to serve 4, so it's far too much. So that's the other change we would, so we're doing our own experiment as we go,
for sure.
which
But I
is
think
quite
that's
fun.
maybe what the purpose of Bon Appetit's discussion was, to inspire people to go out there and actually do this and go through the process.
And that is what's quite nice about listening to a podcast. You really do get deep into the, and they explain everything so nicely. So you're kind of understanding why and where they got to that point.
And I suppose for someone who's trained in the culinary arts, to get that perspective, the value of other people's inputs, exciting.
It is exciting. And it's the funny thing is, if you do like food or know food, you can listen to it and not actually, you understand exactly
Okay, so we've turned, our podcast should have been 2 minutes and we've turned it into a 3 hours. So we've got a lot to get through in a very limited time, so maybe that's my fault.
Right,
okay, so we've got our tomato.
Tomato, right. Then the chicken, crumbed chicken. So it's basically crumbed chicken. So they've marinated this in olive oil, garlic, and salt and lemon.
Okay, and the lemon obviously helps to break down the
just
fibers.
tenderizes it a bit. So that was their take on it. Then you're going to dredge it in your flour, which I've forgotten to add garlic powder and onion powder to. So you dredge this. It's such a messy process. And then it goes into the egg. We'll just do it as quickly as I can. Into the egg. I'm not using my fingers now because it's very messy.
100%. I'm like that. I'm terrible. Like when my baby girl, I wipe her face after every mouthful. She just looks at me like I'm a crazy person. But
no, it's normal. That's what dads do.
Okay,
right, so this is now panko crumbs, and the panko crumbs are nice and light. They're much more flaky than normal breadcrumbs, which is really nice.
You want that lovely extended crisp, not just a layer, but it's like lots of...
Exactly. And then this is now going to go into the pan, which we're going to fry off. And then while it's cooking, So a nice hot pan. You're going to fry it on both sides until it's crispy and golden. And then we have
Okay, so you fry the chicken off first, and then it goes into the pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and into your
yeah. So
oven.
fried chicken. Now, what I would do, to be lazy, if I didn't have time, I'd go and buy the ready crumb chicken.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Put your tomato, and this makes a lot of sauce. So you could actually take half of this and freeze it
for the next round. Yeah.
Either the next round or to use as a nice pizza topping.
Ooh, I love
so
it.
It's a great way to do pizza topping. And then we're going to put the chicken down. So it's a butterfly chicken. It's been bashed a little bit so it's not too thin, too thick.
Too thick, cool.
And then we've got Parmesan and mozzarella. Now the mozzarella gets that nice stringy effect, which is what we want, and the Parmesan's for flavor. And then you just
some ahoy.
Put that on
Okay, so
top.
the tomatoes underneath the chicken, not the cheese. Okay.
And then this goes under the grill. And then you end up with a very delicious, very decadent,
absolutely
calorie-full,
beautiful. But that's why we're making it. I can understand why this has inspired you. Hopefully, this has inspired you as well. Thank you, Bon Appetit, as a podcast for going through this journey to arrive at what we are going to call, now with our little South African touches, the best chicken parm in the world. Beautiful. Nice.
Making it to 2021 is a triumph. So celebrate with Immuenza and stand a chance to win 5,000 Rand weekly for 5 weeks. Now keep boosting your immune system with Immuenza and tell us your survival story and what protected you from, say, a lion attack to a parachute fail. We want to hear your amazing stories. Reply to Immuenza's competition post on Afternoon Express's Facebook or Twitter pages. And note that this competition runs until midnight, the 17th of March 2021. T's and C's can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso in SABC3. And as you know, these guys' new hero has been performing for you, but today is your day. If you need a morning savior, this is New Hero with their single, Walk With Me. Enjoy.
From nothing to something, somehow you got into my head. You got me running in circles. Every day there's something to learn. So why don't we just get this straight? I ain't got no time to waste. Girl, I wanna travel the world. So why can't we just keep things real? Make sure every day you feel like I got you and you got me. Walk with me, walk with me. Tell me all your secrets and fears. Girl, what keeps you up at night? If it's yours, then it's my fight. Walk with me, walk with me. Walk with me, walk with me. straight. I ain't got no time to waste. Girl, I wanna travel the world. So why can't we just keep things real? Make sure every day you feel like I got you and you got me. Walk with me, walk with me. Tell me all your secrets and fears. Girl, what keeps you up at night? If it's yours, then it's my fight. Walk with me, walk with me. Walk with me, walk with me.
Here for you. They are fantastic and phenomenal. We go from new hero to news, the other hero. Here's Zoe.
Thank you, Wasty. Well, here's a final look at your national headlines. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni yesterday said in his budget speech there will not be more cash for the extended state capture inquiry. The deadline for the inquiry, headed by Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, was extended by the Gauteng High Court to the end of June after an urgent court application by Zondo, who cited the effects of lockdown restrictions and the need to call further witnesses. The commission has so far cost taxpayers more than 700 million rand, with lawyers charging as much as 38,000 rand a day. And staying with local news, Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, moreover, announced yesterday that no tax increases would be implemented this year. Instead, a 5% adjustment in personal income tax brackets will provide 2.2 billion rand in tax relief. However, excise duty on alcohol and tobacco products was increased by 8 percentage points. A 750 ml bottle of wine will cost 26 cents extra and 340 ml of beer 14 cents more. Alcohol products such as whiskey and gin will rise by 5 rand 50. A packet of 20 cigarettes will cost 1 rand 39 cents more. And moving to news beyond our own borders, some 100 dolphins have been found dead on an island off the coast of Mozambique. The country's Ministry of Environmental Affairs said 86 dolphin carcasses were found at Bazarutu Islands yesterday after the first group of dolphins washed ashore on Sunday. The cause of their deaths have not yet been determined. The Environment Ministry says experts are investigating the possibility that last week's cyclone may have played a role in the tragedy. And custom officials in Germany and Belgium seized more than 23,000 kilograms of cocaine in 2 raids this month. The drugs were destined for the Netherlands. The street value of the shipment is more than $700 million. In Hamburg, Germany, more than 16 tons of cocaine were confiscated on a cargo ship from Paraguay, and the rest of the drugs came from Panama and were found in Antwerp, Belgium. This follows one of the largest heroin seizures ever in Europe, when officials in Rotterdam discovered some 1.5 tons of this drug. And now some news of a huge donation to save endangered Cape cormorant chicks. The second largest seabird rescue in the Western Cape since the MV treasure oil spill in 2000 has just taken place. SANCOB, the Southern African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds, desperately needed help to care for more than 1,000 endangered Cape cormorant chicks rescued from Robben Island earlier in the year. This week, My School, My Village, My Planet, the largest community loyalty program in SA, donated no less than 200,000 rand to the SANCOB Cape cormorant chick chick emergency relief response. The donation will be used for food and veterinary supplies for the chicks, as well as to fund biosecurity at Sankob Seabird Hospital in Tableview, Cape Town. The endangered chicks had been abandoned by their parents, most likely because of a lack of food. The generous assistance rendered by this amazing non-profit organization is crucial to the ongoing support that staff and volunteers are providing to the chicks. Hedwig Tulp, Sankob's relationship manager, said, and I quote, "My school, my village, my planet has been an incredible partner during critical times of need for Sankob, and we are very grateful that they have once again extended their benevolence to our cause." Well, that's where we leave your morning headlines. Let's take a quick and final look at your sport.
Let's start with cricket, and it's now certainly getting to the business end of what has been an exhilarating local tournament. The Dolphins recording a 41-run victory over the Lions in their CSA T20 Challenge match at Kingsmead in Durban yesterday. The Lions were all out for 110 thanks to spin bowlers Keshav Maharaj and Pranellan Subrayan, both on fire on the day in the earlier T20 fixture. Of course, the Warriors registering their first win in the tournament after beating the Titans by 43 runs, that to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Warriors take on the Knights in the only T20 Challenge fixture today. That one's this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Staying in the country, SuperSport United and Orlando Pirates played out to a 1-1 draw at the Lucas Moripe Stadium in the Premier Soccer League yesterday. The result sees the Buccaneers now move up to 4th place on the standings, while SuperSport, they remain in 2nd place now, just 3 points behind log leaders and defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns. Now, other PSL encounter yesterday, TS Galaxy, they beat Bloem Celtic 1-0 in Nelspruit. Then staying with the beautiful game, the goals by Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus securing a 2-0 victory for Manchester City over German side Borussia Mönchengladbach at the Puskás Arena in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg tie last night. This was in fact City's 12th away win in a row, a record for an English top flight club. The second fixture of the night saw a 10-man Atalanta suffer a 1-0 defeat to the hands of visitors Real Madrid, who left it late in Italy. And then staying with European football, Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur, they cruised into the UEFA Europa League last 16 after thrashing Austrian outfit Wolfsberger AC 4-0 in their last 32 second leg tie last night. Dele Alli's superb overhead kick and then 2 by Carlos Vinicius and a 73rd minute goal by Gareth Bale securing the win for Spurs. Tottenham claiming an 8-1 aggregate win after winning the first leg in Budapest 4-1. That's a wrap of your sport for this Thursday morning. Let's get one last look at some of your beautiful sunrise vistas and the weather with Carl.
Thanks a lot, Graham. We're recapping your sunrise contributions from this morning, and we started off with Ntokozo Theo Makatini in Joburg. Paulina Williams from Cluttersville, Merlin Phillips from George shared this stunning photo. And last but not least, Tandeka Mgoza shared her image from Mpendle, KZN. Thank you to each and every one of you that takes the time to share your sunrise photos with us. If you too would like to be featured in our sunrise segment, all you have to do is head over to the Expresso Facebook page to share your photo and location with us. So while we love our local viewers, that's no doubt, we also have to send some greetings to international viewers tuned in on the Africa channel and on YouTube. We wrap your weather report for the day with a brief update on Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson is located in a humid subtropical climate, with spring and winter being the wettest seasons. Jackson lies in a region prone to severe thunderstorms, which can produce large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. Today, you can expect a mostly cloudy day with a maximum of 19 degrees Celsius. It has now been 7 days since Makhanda District Municipality residents on the east side of Makhanda in the Eastern Cape have seen a drop of water emerging from their taps. Leakage at the James Kleinhaus water treatment plant has damaged pumps, resulting in parts of the town running dry. Moreover, the Settlers Dam is currently at an alarming only 5%, and the Howison's Poort Dam stands at 25%. And with scorching hot temperatures, residents of Makhanda are scrambling for water. The city has been in the grip of a drought for the past 4 years. Residents and local businesses have been hit with an erratic water supply and water cuts on a daily basis. Makhanda Municipal Mayor Msukize Mpahla says the damaged pump at the water treatment plant is in for repairs and is expected to be operational soon. Meanwhile, the relief organization Gift of the Givers has intervened to assist with water supply. Water trucks and tanks have been dispensed across the city, so our thoughts are with you in that area. Talking about your area, let's go to those those temperatures. And starting off with Polokwane, 17 your low to a high of 25. Bombela, thunder showers, a 51% chance, 27 your high from a low of 20. Pretoria, 63% chance of thunder showers, 23 the high from a low of 17. Johannesburg, 16 to 22 for you. Mahikeng, 16 to 27 degrees. Klerksdorp, 16 to 27. Kimberley, 14 the low to a high of 32. Bloemfontein, 28 is the high from a low of 12. Richards Bay, 26 is the high there from a low of 21. Pietermaritzburg, 17 for you this morning, 23 this afternoon. Durban, 25 is your high with a 52% chance of thunder showers, 21 your low. Mthatha, 14 to 20 with a 70% chance of rain. East London, 17 to 24. Cradock, 12, that is your low to a high of 29. The friendly and windy city, Gqeberha, 17 to 23 with a 63% chance of rain. George, 15 to 22 for you. The mother city, 19 to 23. Worcester, 12 to 30. Sutherland, a low 7 to a high of 26 later. And wrapping up with Uppington, 18 to 35 degrees. Those are your temperatures in South Africa today. And do make sure you stick around because there is something called the Final Frontier with Dr. Daniel Kahneman. Stick around.
The United Arab Emirates and China have become the latest countries to reach Mars, with the UAE being the first Arab nation to do so. It seems at the moment all roads lead to the red planet, and to talk about the latest happenings in and around such a planet, we are joined by science engagement astronomer from the observatory, Dr. Daniel Kahneman. This is undoubtedly my best highlight of the week, especially now because there's been so much interest in Mars, and we'll chat about Perseverance in just a moment, but so much happening. Let's start with the UAE putting a spacecraft in Mars's orbit. Just how significant is this an undertaking for them?
Yeah, I think it's huge for them. It's the first Arab spacecraft to go into orbit around Mars or to visit another planet. So it's wonderful to see another country developing this capability. And as you said, all roads are leading to Mars right now. Everybody's very interested in Mars. We're hoping we'll have people on Mars in the next decade. So there's a lot of interest in it, and everybody's trying to learn as much as they can about it, trying to get their countries there and humanity there.
And I suppose it's also about exploring what possibilities await us when we get there from a commercial perspective. I have no doubt that's going to come into the fold at some point soon. But what was the UAE's objective through their mission? What are they hoping to achieve?
A few things. Obviously, they wanted to prove that they could build such a thing, launch it, and get into orbit around Mars. But it has to have a science goal too. And the science goal for this is it's in an unusual orbit for Mars. Most of the orbiters that have been put around Mars previously are in a very low orbit, so that you can get very high resolution imagery. Like some of the stuff we saw of the landing this last week was taken from very low satellites. What they've done with the HOPE mission, the UAE mission, is to put it at a very high orbit, and in that way they can monitor the climate and the weather of Mars. So they're hoping to study and understand the climate, how the upper atmosphere of Mars works, how is it losing water still? Why is it losing water? And try and understand the process that's going on from a climate perspective on Mars.
I love that. Now we shift focus to China. They now, as I understand it, have a rover ready to land on Mars. They're predicting in May or around June. What's the story there?
The Chinese also have sent a probe, and it's a combination. So it's quite a big vehicle. It's 5 tons.
Wow.
Perseverance is 1 ton. But what the Chinese probe is doing is it has an orbiter as well as a descent stage and a rover. So it has now been put into orbit around Mars, and it'll orbit for a few months where they will take photos of the surface and choose a landing spot. So for Perseverance, the landing spot was chosen in advance, although it did make some adjustments on the way down. This Chinese lander is going to spend the next 2 months assessing the surface, choosing a spot, and then they're going to land their lander in May or June.
I wonder if Perseverance and their rover are going to meet and, they're going to have a little engagement on Mars. It's amazing to me that we've gotten to this point. Of course, at the front of that queue of all of those launches that have now made it to the Red Planet, the Perseverance had a very successful landing. We've been able to see some truly amazing visuals of that process. What are the latest tidings from Perseverance?
Yeah, it's incredible. So Monday night, they released the video now of the descent stage. So when the scientists build these things, they just want a rover, they want it on Mars, and they want it to do science. It was kind of an afterthought that actually this could look pretty cool. So they stuck various cameras all over the descent stage and to look up at the parachute, and then they put this video together, and you basically watch the entire landing, including the sky crane lowering the rover onto the surface of Mars, which is just incredible. It's an incredible thing to see something landing on another planet completely autonomously and in such high resolution. It's really spectacular footage.
What's the next step for Perseverance? What's on his little roster card?
I mean, there's definitely going to be more exciting things coming from it. The one thing which we spoke about previously is there is still a helicopter sitting on Perseverance. Nobody's talking about yet. It's busy charging up its solar panels. At some point, they're gonna fly that thing. Then we're gonna have little footage from a drone flying around on Mars. So we'll get some nice selfies of Perseverance, and there's going to be some amazing stuff coming. And there's 23 cameras on the Mars lander on Perseverance. Wow. So we're going to get more and more things. Beautiful sunsets, all sorts of stuff is going to be coming out. And I think that they're daily image dumps at the moment, and it's just going to continue for some time.
So what I'm hearing you saying is we're going to discover an alien civilization. That's basically what you're saying. We're going to see it.
At the moment, the alien civilization on Mars consists of little rovers and robots.
We are that civilization, and it's quite mechanical. Oh, Dan, thank you so much. I wasn't kidding. This really is the highlight of my week, especially with so much going on in our universe, seeing where we are taking things. Thanks, as always, for sharing the latest and biggest space news with us. I think it's going to be an eventful year with so much interest in our planetary neighbor, only continuing to grow. So cool that it's a global effort at the moment and that we can capture it as never before.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Let's inspire you to travel, but travel within our own four borders. With South Africa as a stopping point on the old trade routes, Asian coffee has very much shaped the local tastes of Cape Town's coffee culture, which is exploding. And it's no wonder that Expresso launched the Cape Town in Vivo Lungo as part of their World Explorations Rage to celebrate our city's love affair with great coffee. So as part of the celebration, the company partnered with visual artist Baba Cheko to create local-inspired window displays and capture the city's boldness, vibrancy, and color. Take a look.
My name is Baba Cheko, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I was born in a small farm just outside Vredefort in the Free State, where I attended my preschooling. It was the first place where I was introduced to coloring books. I remember I was just fascinated by the color. It was something that really ignited my mind, my imagination. I've always been in love with Basotho culture, the Sesotho language. There's this mural art called Ditima. It was an art form that was practiced by Basotho women. They would do these geometric patterns on the outside of their mud homes. But I then discovered that due to urbanization, Ditima was actually now a dying art form. I can now make sure that I keep the memory and the history of this art form alive by integrating it into my own work. It gave me an artistic voice, an identity. In Expresso, they are very rooted in how coffee has been produced throughout the years, but now they are presenting it in a very contemporary way. For me, coffee making as well as coffee drinking is an art form in itself. With well explorations, Expresso is really celebrating coffee culture in different cities, and in the context of Cape Town, which is very vibrant and colorful, you have the jazz element going on. That was really inspiring me to be able to bring out the soul of the city. I was taking all those elements and then integrating my visual language of Ditima and coming up with this beautiful energy that says Cape Town.
Well, after seeing that, we are even more excited to have Baba right here in studio to tell us a bit more about his beautiful work, his coffee collaboration, and actually show us how he creates his magic. My brother, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
This is a really cool collaboration. We love the way that Nespresso chooses to partner with people who embody what they do and the message behind the brand, and you very much do that, and you've got quite a responsibility here.
Yes.
Living the culture of this beautiful city. But how did the partnership come about?
The agency that is responsible for the campaign saw my work on social media because I'm very active there, and I think it's because of the consistency and the authenticity of my story, because I bring a lot of my culture in my work. So I think they saw that, and together with other successful collaborations, they then said, this is the man for the job.
This is our guy.
So they reached out to me and then we made it happen.
But no pressure. I always feel that in the creative space, having to get to a point where you're actually happy with the creation and that you're ready to give birth and let your baby into the world, that must be quite a grueling process. What inspired you for the works that you've done for them?
My work generally is inspired by Ditima. It's a Basotho art form that was used by women long time ago, but now I've integrated it into my work to make it more contemporary so that it's relevant for now. For this campaign specifically, I was inspired by the energy, the vibrancy of the city, and then also using some of the landmarks like your Table Mountain, Ferris wheel. Those are some of the elements that are known here, and then that I wanted to also communicate through my visual language.
And I'm sure you've drunk your fair share of coffee through the process.
Oh yes, a lot.
So you've brought a canvas with you. Thank you so much. Do you want to take us through how you go about creating your work and get busy, man?
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Thank you.
So talk us through the narrative here. What are you putting together for this creation?
So with this creation here, it's an image about a woman, because my work is mostly inspired by women. The Ditima patterns were mostly done by Basotho women. So all of my work is really inspired by the female figure. So this image here shows the female figure and something. I was always fascinated by this, the old traditional women with having the bucket on their head and then being able to be
have the strength to be able to do that.
And they did that with such grace.
Yeah.
So it's something that really inspired me to connect more with their innovations and their creations in general. So this is me paying tribute to them and showing that strength, but also the beauty as well.
Well, you can crack on, man. Go for it, man. Okay. You can paint away. No pressure to do it in front of millions of people. But I think what I love about this is when Expresso say they're going to partner with you, they go the full degree. And the fact that these are now being displayed beautifully in shop front windows, that's an amazing endorsement. But what it really allows people to understand is that this is Cape Town coffee culture.
Yes.
And they're backing that. It looks absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
It must be cool for you to walk past an Expresso store.
Amazing. It's amazing. It feels almost surreal to look at my work like that.
How long does it normally take you to finish a piece of work?
It differs according to one project to the other, but generally it's about a day. If it's a painting like this, or 2 days, but for bigger pieces you can take 2 weeks to a month or even more, because sometimes you go back to the image that you've started maybe a few months back, and then
you've changed in that time. You need to express that.
So you rework it again, and then
Okay, I'm going to stop distracting him and let Baba do the work that he does in paint and piece. We'll check back with him in just a moment, but hopefully this has inspired you to really deep dive, said that term again, into the beautiful coffee culture, the culture of Cape Town.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, let's teach you something here. Did you know that grey is one of the Pantone 2021 colors of the year? Did you know that? I bet you didn't. When it comes to deco, there are so many different ways to bring a room together, and color does allow you to do just that. Very instantly change the things up with a few simple accessories and some edits that you throw in here and there. Homeware editor Danielle Weekly is here to give us her tips and tricks. Dan, I love it when you come around because, wow, the inspiration is loaded each time.
I'm making sure today that you've got a slightly more complicated bed than you usually would have. So even though we're talking neutrals and we're talking grey, and it is a super hot color for the year ahead, I've mixed in lots of different textures.
Yes.
So there are knits and linens, and they're the cushions. There are also lots of different colors of grey. So you've got darker charcoals, lighter colors, there's lots of layering over here. So just to keep it interesting.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to, I suppose, deco and the bedroom in particular, we're always told that neutral, or we always think neutral is the way to go, but how can we really mix things up a little bit this year?
Okay, so I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve to keep it simple, and that's by adding a little bit of color. And the hot colors for me this year on the decor front are yellows and reds.
Okay.
It's not a little bit overwhelming for a bedroom, but they don't have to be. So can I
like
show
that
you?
You can really get used to them very quickly, so they're not too overpowering, right? Love
So
that.
I add scatter cushions to my look.
Okay, cool. So do you want me to bring a
Add
yellow
yourself a cushion.
pop here?
I think this for me, so it doesn't have to be a full, zesty, vivid yellow look. It can literally be something super simple that adds a little bit of a pop of color.
Yes.
And I think the cushions work. There are lots of duvet covers that kind of work in the same way with like a little accent color.
Yeah.
And you can do the same rolling into the reds or whatever you like. And that's where grey is such a nice neutral because it can work with all of those.
And that's the really nice thing. It's about adding that pop of color that sort of expresses your style and your personality or the energy that you're looking for during that season without entirely transforming your space into a carnival.
Exactly, exactly right. Nobody wants a bedroom carnival.
No, well,
I do have, well, maybe they do.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of red too, if you want to grab a cushion.
Wow, okay.
I'll show you what you're doing. I know. Fling that one artfully on the side,
yes.
which I love. And I've also got a throw to add to the good times. But I think this, again, it just shows you how simply and easily you can actually put something together.
Yes.
For me, when you're styling cushions and throws and things like that, don't be afraid to add lots of layers.
Okay.
Cushions, it should be about big ones at the back, smaller ones in the front. You can add little bolsters so that you've got lots of them. And the throws, again, especially going into transitional weather, to be able to have lots of layers on the bottom of the bed, just work with sizes. So you've got long ones, short ones that you can drape over this way, and then it kind of all works. It's not just like a pile of blankets at the bottom of the bed.
Textures too.
Yes, I love the new embroidered details.
Wow.
Absolutely.
You can see the amount of attention to detail that has been put into making these pieces. It's really about keeping it nice and sort of subtle but impactful.
Yeah, and I think it's also about feeling cozy in a bedroom. You know, you want that feel. So all of the kind of furry details and the textures kind of add to all of that as well.
So these are the colors to look forward to. But grey, don't be shy to play with the different shades of grey. There are clearly arrays, a whole
50 shades of grey, baby.
There are certainly 50 shades of grey, and they're all there for you to play with. This is really fun and it's really interesting. And I think decorating your bedroom doesn't have to be a boring, daunting task. And this shows you can really have fun with it and play with it a lot more. You rock.
Thank you, baby.
Well, for you at home, style your bedroom with a neutral color palette accentuated with bold pops of scarlet reds as you're seeing. They look amazing. And those vivid yellows. Don't be shy. You can achieve this trend-driven look with products available at Woolworths. Shop it safely in store, online, or on the app. Okay.
Good night.
Thank you.
I love how people get the nice jobs. You know, they get to lay in beds and stuff, while others slave away at beautiful art. Baba is still busy with his piece. If you can take a look at this, it's looking so good. This guy is so talented. And we'll make sure that we get the progress as we go along and the complete product for you right here on Expresso. But of course, we go from the art that is the kitchen, and I have an artist alongside me, Angie Gerba. And the thing is, we went from bedroom to art, and you're thinking, how does it all connect? Well, the simple thing is, when you make French toast, tiramisu style, you will go lay in a bed and know that it is art. That's why it makes sense. This is a match made in heaven, as you know. The following recipe is one you'll love, whether it's for breakfast or dessert. And I mean, we're talking coffee, vanilla, maple syrup flavors. They ooze through the sourdough bread, creating the perfect French toast. It's a recipe inspired by the podcast. Once again, this time the splendid table, and I have the splendid Angie taking us through. I am ready for this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm ready. You know,
it's a nice combo.
It is a good combo, and I know that it's something that is going to be decadent, and it can be some surprise and delight in the kitchen. So,
yeah,
the podcast itself, inspiration?
Yeah, so the Splendid Table is quite interesting, actually. So they were talking about coffee and toast.
Yes.
And then what we've done here is we've combined coffee and toast.
Thank you for doing that, because it happens in the mouth anyway when you're having a good piece of bread. Yep.
Yeah, so we've sort of gone down the tiramisu road because coffee kind of says tiramisu, right?
Yes, it does.
So we've got mascarpone cream, normal cream, coffee, or espresso actually.
Ooh.
And not espresso.
Okay.
And
you choose a good one, because I know that I'm smelling it. It's definitely Nespresso. I can smell
and
that.
maple
and then
syrup.
maple. Ooh.
Vanilla,
Yes, indeed.
And then the cinnamon. So the podcast was talking about, the woman was talking about French toast. So they had two guests on. One was talking about coffee, which was fascinating, like really going into the barista style, but at home, how you bring out those flavors, how you treat it at home. Really interesting. And then the chef lady was talking about, I can't remember her name, but she was talking about cinnamon toast as a childhood memory. So we've got our cinnamon toast flavors and then the coffee as well. And then we're going to add some eggs. So basically we're making a coffee custard.
Oh, come on.
Which is
really
divine, right?
That is.
I mean, you could have this just by itself.
Yeah, I would. That's like eggnog to me right now.
Exactly.
It smells good too already before you even put it into the pan.
Right.
And yeah.
And then we've got whatever bread works for
So this
you.
would usually be boudoir biscuits, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if it was tiramisu, it would be. Yes.
But now we got sourdough. I mean,
we got sourdough, whatever you like. So just really soak it in there. You can really kind of leave it in there for a good few minutes to get it soaked through.
All right.
And then our pan, I think our pan is on. And then we add some butter to the pan. And I like to add lots of butter to our stove.
Yes. I mean, yeah, to quote an Australian TV show, it's always better with a bit of butter. It is. We are ready for it.
It really is. Okay, so you want to get that melted down. I'm not going to do it right now. And then French TV.
It's TV hacks. We know,
TV
yes.
hacks.
We've made
we
some
pretend.
earlier. Yeah.
There we go. So get that in. And just let it get really nice and brown on both sides. And however much you want to put on a serving, I would have one.
Oh.
You might want to have two.
Yeah, I'm a growing boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
You're still getting there?
Yes, I'm getting there. Slowly but surely, I need to get my carbs in. But just a quick question. I know sourdough is very zhuzh for some individuals. Can you replace it with some other bread options?
Anything you like. So, I mean, whatever. Usually you would use stale bread. So whatever bread. I wouldn't use the pre-sliced bread. You want to go for a nice rustic loaf. So it's like a milk loaf or an old baguette, whatever's left over.
So I was about to ask you the curveball. You know, sometimes you get like a half a dozen hot dog rolls, and then you only got 4 people to feed, and no one's having seconds, and then you have those 2 left over. Could this work?
Yeah, I've done it with hot dog rolls.
Oh, thank goodness.
Definitely. And old croissants. Not that there are ever old croissants left over.
Ever old croissants.
Croissant.
I like to say a croissant. You know, it is very good. So you get people over, and you know, there have been people that came over to my house saying, "Do you have any croissants?"
Croissants.
I have a croissant, maybe. But this is smelling good. I can take you through it. And
so we obviously it takes a little while, and you don't really want to turn it too many times, otherwise it breaks.
Yes.
But we'll take it off and pretend that it's beautifully browned and crusty and crispy.
Have an imagination.
And then layer it up, and then we put the mascarpone on as a little extra dollop of mascarpone.
Let's just say if you don't have mascarpone, for like sort of kitchen staples, what do you think? Could you do some cream?
Definitely. What you could do is take the cream, add a little squeeze of lemon juice to make it sour, which is really nice.
Okay,
then
there
it's
we
not
go.
too sweet.
Hacks.
And it thickens it up as well. So, yeah.
Bit more maple on there.
Lots of maple. Some hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts
and
work.
a little bit of cocoa powder. So this is your tiramisu element. A little bit of cocoa powder, I say.
That's gorgeous. And this is all inspired by a podcast. It just shows you that podcasts have power. They can inspire you in the kitchen. And you have made tiramisu French toast. I'm smelling tiramisu.
I can also smell
I'm smelling French toast. There's a perfect merge. And I think that if you want to give this a shot at home, as mentioned, if you got some bread left over, don't waste the bread. This is your opportunity to make something very, very special out of it. And if you want to get the recipe, there is a website that we'll send you to every single time. And that is expressoshow.com. I can't wait to tuck in. Thank you, Angie.
Pleasure.
Yes.
Looking for fantastic health and weight loss benefits without a lifestyle change or being on a diet? Well, Shapeline 50 Billion from Proven Probiotics is the first ever probiotic to offer scientifically proven weight loss, while at the same time boosting immune and digestive health. That's why we think Shapeline 50 Billion may well be the world's most effective probiotic. Available at Dis-Chem and Clicks.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
When I'm big, I want to intro just like Ron Hines. But we'll get there later. This is the Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso and SABC3. And technology, it's always changing, as you know. And some of it is actually returning and reinventing itself to fit into our modern world. And practically every mobile phone in the world can be used as a camera now. But absolutely nothing beats gathering around a photograph as it develops in front of your eyes and listening to that crackle of a vinyl record. And that's why we bring in the experts.
Yeah,
the
we
man
got the
himself.
expert himself, Ron Hines, in the building, of course, brother. This is cool. I love this, man. It's so cool because it's like we're going back to the beginning. Obviously, like, phones are amazing. They're creative. They're cool. But there's such beauty in this. You got like one shot. You got to make it count. It's live in the moment.
Well, what I love about analog technology is that it's not just about the pursuit of being technological. It's going, we have these really amazing technologies that we've made.
Yeah.
Let's merge the two together, you know?
Okay.
So that's essentially what's...
So what's happening here? I mean, you got all these cool looking gadgets, but what exactly is it?
So these are instant cameras. Instant cameras are what like our grandparents used to use, our parents used to use, where it uses like a piece of film, you take a photograph on that piece of film and it prints it out instantly. We don't have that with these physical cameras.
Shake it, shake
yes.
it, shake it.
There was
shake
why are you asking me? Oh, do you remember? Like, I'm young or something. Do you remember?
Do you remember that time we used to shake
Oh, yes. I used to love it.
So obviously you get instant cameras now that use technology, and let me actually quickly just show you. So this is one that's got built-in. It's got a built-in just switches on just like that.
That's cool.
And then it's got a built-in selfie mode as well, which means that again, new technology it calls for new things. And here's the selfie mode is just a mirror on the front. And then
how's that for tech though? We don't need a LCD screen.
Yeah.
You got it right there.
I'm gonna take I want you to pose. Are you
Yes,
gonna pose?
proper pose. That's it.
So this is gonna print out the top, just like that, and
like
it's
that.
it's
Oh, that is
instant.
so cool.
It will develop because that's how.
Shake.
Yeah, no, you can't mustn't shake it.
You're not supposed to shake
No, don't
it.
shake the photo because
Why?
you don't want it to develop faster than it should. It should take the normal time, and it's using chemicals on that paper.
Okay.
But that's obviously the cameras that we are familiar with, right? That you've seen in the movies and they come from the songs and stuff.
Yes.
But you also get new technology which mixes with your phone. This over here is a printer. It's like an instant photo printer, and how it works is you can do anything on your photo roll right now. So I'm going to take a photograph of Carl, and obviously we have like incredible cameras like on our
And
phones.
an incredible model as well.
And incredible
You
model.
just snapped into that, man. Well
That's right,
done.
old school like that sometimes.
Good form.
That's
good
right.
form.
I tried. I actually copied you.
I'm glad.
So what, you're going to print this from your phone?
Yeah, so I'm going to print this from my phone.
please,
I'm just going to go like simple print. I go into my photo gallery. I've just taken this photo of Carl right now.
Okay.
I'm going to frame it. I can turn it sideways. It can be a little bit dramatic, but like again, I can just reframe it. And then once I've got it, I can add text if I want. I can do color correction. I can turn the brightness or the contrast up or whatever.
That's so cool.
And then I can just press print straight up like this. And then the printer, it will just swipe up. It's going up.
Yes.
And the printer will then transfer this image and start printing, which it's currently.
Are we doing this right now?
Yeah, we're doing it right now, man.
It's happening right now.
This is happening.
Yes.
Oh man, that is so quick as well.
And then you've got your image.
Don't
Just
shake.
like this. No, don't shake it. I told you.
You see, this is what happens. With the modern generation, we have this instant gratification that we need. Everything needs to happen now, and this teaches us patience.
Well, it's developing. As you can see, the photograph that I took of Ryle is currently developing. The colors are a little bit washed now.
Yes.
But give it an extra like 3 minutes, it will be developed. And these are great. It's really nice having our photographs in a physical form because we can put them up on the fridge, or we can show our friends, or gift it. I know people that have got jobs because they took one of these cameras, took photographs of like of themselves with a potential employer.
Yes.
At a coffee or whatever, wrote their details on it. Hey, it was rad, having a good time. Gave them the photo, and it was such like a moving experience for that person. Going, hey, we had such a good time. Here's I remember you. They got the job out of that.
So cool. Every
Right?
experience you could kind of like, this is my experience business card. That was our experience. Take that.
And that's just one of many different reasons why real world tangible things have value. And just because we're going to this really exciting digital world, and I'm excited about it. I love the digital space. I love podcasts. I love the Instagram. But at the end of the day, like, there is something valuable about something physical. And if we can mix the two things together, we can make better products, right? All the learnings we have from our grandparents and all the learnings that we're creating today, let's mix them. Let's see what comes out of it. And we get these really exciting technologies.
So cool, man.
And you know, I feel like it is because we are in such a fast virtual type of world that these tangible things, they mean more to us. You know, it's that nostalgia that makes us feel comfortable that we're still human. We're not controlled by any sort of machines. I mean, ironically, but there's something special about it.
Well, I want to give you guys these photos because Ryle, this is your photo.
This is my memory of the day.
This is your memory of the day.
Thank you so much.
Follow me on
man.
Instagram.
You got the job. You got the job. He's got the job.
I'm just gonna do it for here, so I have to. Shake it, shake it.
Well, we are back with the amazing multidisciplinary artist, Baba Jeko, who is busy creating an incredible piece that has come along very well in a very short amount of time, sharing more about the magic that went into his collaboration with Nespresso and their World Explorations Cape Town in Vivo Lungo coffee. So, buddy, I'm going to make you a Cape Town Lungo because you've earned the right this morning, at least.
Yes, I appreciate that.
It's such a cool kind of flavor profile because for me it really does. We're kind of coffee snobs down in Cape Town and we like a nice strong coffee.
Yeah.
And this packs a punch.
I think that's why it's called, it's named after Cape Town.
You know, we've got the coffee culture. I dig that. I love the fact that culture plays such an important role in your own artistic journey.
Yes.
I'm loving this powerful, strong black woman that's emerging on this painting. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I've got to ask you though, what inspired the start of this journey? Where did the love of art begin for you?
I grew up drawing. So from a young age, when I was 3, preschool time, I used to draw a lot. Anything that I can find, I would draw on on the walls, on magazines, on everything. Even on school books, I used to get in trouble with the teachers because instead of writing, I would draw.
Little did they know where it would end.
But now, as I grew up, I actually found out that you can make a career out of this. So that's the journey that I decided to pursue. And then I decided to make it a career. And
I think and here we go.
Thank you so much.
So you have earned that.
Thank you so much.
You haven't just made a career out of it, but you seem to constantly reinvent yourself and find new ways of being able to get your message out there. You've spoken about how busy you are on social media platforms, engaging with a partnership. I mean, look at the piece of work like that must be a journey in itself to go through something like that.
Absolutely.
Do you find that you have to constantly keep reevaluating and reinventing yourself as an artist to keep yourself relevant? We've spoken about all these new tools that are available, new ways of getting yourself out there. How important is it that you keep up with the times?
It's very important because when I started out, it was more traditionally like paint, pens on canvas or on paper. But as time goes on, I actually studied creative multimedia. I was majoring in graphic design. So I think that gave me another take for me to create digital works that are still strong and that have that substance. So I was able to transcend the olden traditional ways, but be able to mix them together and be able to showcase it to the public.
Yeah, never losing sight of what inspires you and drives you, but bringing it very much into a modern digital space.
Yeah.
Powerful work. I'm going to let you finish off this amazing, beautiful work so you can get back to work. And I'm going to recommend you guys, if you want to get a taste of Cape Town coffee culture, this is the guy that you need to find. Absolutely love, as part of the World Explorations range, the Cape Town Lungo, which is obviously the 110 ml, so slightly more coffee to enjoy, is absolutely awesome. The artwork is looking incredible. Can't wait to see what that final product is going to look like. We'll catch up with Baba just one more time before the big reveal, so don't go anywhere.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. Of course, you're still locked in, and we have had so much magic on the show. You can see Baba still making that piece of artwork and the piece of magic. And speaking of magic, we've had so much of it on the show, and we've been grooving to futuristic synths and emotional vocals of electronic duo New Hero, and they are about to send us off into the day with one of their biggest songs of 2017. And if you can't remember, this is what it is. It's called Chasing Hurricanes. Ladies and gentlemen, New Hero, let's take it away.
When you walked through my door, you were too shy to talk. Made up excuses that your friends were calling on the phone. But as the time went by, lost that look in your eye. We turned this home into a house, and that's the reason why. First you want time, and then you need space. Why make this perfect just to walk away? You said you meant well, but you just lacked grace. Why are we always chasing hurricanes? And it's not over, it's not the end, and I told ya, you don't think it over, do you? You just put the blame on me. You just put the blame on me. When did I let you down? When did this time run out? Cause when I look into your eyes, it just don't feel like us. What do I have to do to make you see it clear? I'm trying harder every day to make it back to you. First you want time, and then you need space. Why make this perfect just to walk away? You said you meant well, but you just lacked grace. Why are we always chasing hurricanes? And it's not over, it's not the end, and I told ya, you don't think it over, do you? You just put the blame on me. You just put the blame on me. You just put the blame on me. It's not over, it's not the end, and I told ya, you don't think it over, do you? You just put the blame on me. It's not over, it's not the end, and I told ya, you don't think it over, do you? You just put the blame on me. You need some time, and then you need space. Why make this perfect just to walk away? You said you meant well, but you just lacked grace. Why are we always chasing hurricanes? And it's not over, it's not the end, and I told ya, you don't think it over, do you? You just put the blame on me. Me, on me. You just put the blame on me. Me, on me. You just put the blame on me. Thank you for having us.
World class. Absolute class, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for being vulnerable, for opening up this morning, for bringing some phenomenal tracks to play for us today. That's been inspiring. It's elevated the show. It's been such a pleasure having you guys here in the flesh, man. So all the best for 2021. Dominate, own it. And a part of that little music video that we just shot, of course, Bubba was in the background getting his groove on. Hopefully it didn't make it more difficult.
No.
The final touches are coming there. Do you ever paint to music? Because it looked like you got in your zone there, man.
Yes, I do, a lot. Music just brings things alive, and yeah, it makes the process very smooth, and yeah, I love painting with music. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful, man. We touched on it earlier.
Yeah.
How does it feel when you walk past a shop front window? Because I'm sure you have many moments as an artist, but when you see your artwork being displayed so prominently, being used like this, how does that make you feel, man?
It's so surreal. It's a bit unbelievable. It's like I'm dreaming. But yeah, I think I've come a long way to where I am. So I think I just need to embrace the moment that this is the time.
It is your time, my friend. It is your time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here because I know you're not quite finished, but I'm starting to really get the essence of this artwork.
Yeah.
What would you name this painting?
I would name it Me Kamukotla Shohu.
Could have given me something a little easier, man. Come on, dude. What does that translate to?
That's Sotho for a woman with a bag on the head.
Woman with the bag on the head.
Yeah.
She is stoic. She is proud. She is strong.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. The colors are bold and beautiful. I feel quite privileged that we've been able to sit here and witness you create the work that you do in this personal setting. Seeing the big stuff is great, but seeing this intimate space is absolutely beautiful. And I would really recommend, if you can, get to the V&A waterfront, to get to Canal Walk, go and check out the Expresso representations there. Some of his amazing artwork really becoming a part of the DNA of the brand and how they are expressing themselves to the public. Buddy, you are such an impressive individual. It's been such an inspiration to host you this morning, and you're a lovely human being. So thank you for bringing that down, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It was a beautiful time.
We're not going to give this away. Maybe you can buy it for about 40, 50 G's. Maybe. But we might put it up to auction. But that's a wrap from our studio, in our studio. Such a proud collaboration with Expresso this morning.
Have yourself a fantastic morning. Congratulations to the winner today, Grant. With 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, and he's had 24 hours to practice. Okay.
I'm about to beat that time. I'm about to beat that time.
6, 7, 8.
Did he do it? Did he
just dipped under 2 minutes.
Under
he just
two.
dipped under
Okay, that's
2 minutes.
Worthy,
well done.
It was really difficult, but really fun, this game. And I love the fact that we were able to race on Kyalami track. Just so cool. I know there are a lot of bike riders out there that this is part of their life, their upbringing. And it did actually feel, having ridden on Kyalami, felt like it. Didn't help my time at all. But what a joy. What a great way to play this morning. Play throughout the show. It's been a wonderful show today, actually. It's been so cool.
It's been good.
New hero, superb, world class. Baba Jeko, just an inspiring and wonderful human being. And if you can get hold of any piece of work from him, I would suggest you do it, because it's going to become unbelievably valuable. But from our poor collection of times, we're going to say adios, muchachos. Well done, Grant. Hi.
Well done. Well done.
Celebrate the month of love with your family favorites. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.